Okay. All right. I think we are now officially live. Welcome to Bucs Falcons, a damn good TNF game, if I do say so myself. EJ, how you doing?
I'm good. We got red helmets tonight. We got Matt Ryan going into the Ring of Honor. Like Falcons are going to be fired up at home.
Weird, very weird Falcons game last week where they scored 26 points with no offensive touchdowns. They got a special teams touchdown. They got a defensive touchdown. They managed to win a game against New Orleans despite, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, not really matching up well with the Saints. They still got it done anyway. Meanwhile, the Bucs are coming off of a dismantling of the Eagles, and at least to me, look like the strongest team in this division. So you have a very good Bucs team going on the road against a plucky Falcons team that may or may not be really good. We still can't figure that out 4 weeks into the season, but overall, at least it's a fun game. Certainly more excited for this one than our annual Cowboys blowout of the Giants in primetime last week.
Yeah, it's a division game. It should be pretty good. Again, we're talking about the Falcons being at home and, wearing their alternate uniforms, putting one of their all-time quarterbacks in the Ring of Honor. They should be fired up, but when you look at the matchup, like you said, the Bucs coming off the game they're coming off of, Falcons have been a little bit more of a roller coaster, and there's a piece in terms of what Baker does to non-press coverage, and basically he eats it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Falcons play like the fourth least amount of press coverage in the entire league. So Bucs look like the stronger team. Their quarterback eats against the defense that the Falcons are going to play. Falcons need to find a consistency for their offensive identity. They have a lot of tools. We were all very excited about Kirk Cousins coming in. Took a few games to warm up. We've seen sort of, I would say, fits and spurts, but if you're looking at just overall scoring for the Falcons, they need to get points consistently. And against this Bucs defense, I think that's going to be difficult. You flip it over to the other side. Baker loves throwing against the coverages the Falcons put up. He's got great weapons on his own side. I'm leaning Bucs in this one.
What's interesting about this Falcons offense, and I tweeted about it a couple days ago. So they run more outside zone than literally every other team in the NFL. Like even more than they did under Arthur Smith, where they were I think 59% under Arthur Smith. They're almost 70% now this year. And of all those outside zone runs, I want to say it was 80% off the top of my head, or to the weak side. So outside zone weak basically makes up half of their running game, which is kind of insane. I don't think I've ever seen an offense do that. Like even like the old Gary Kubiak Texans team, where it's outside zone with Arian all day. I still don't even think they did it that much. So it's kind of a one-dimensional rushing attack, and I'm not 100% sure the reason for that. I don't know why, because it's not like Bijan can't run anything else. Like we know Bijan's very capable of running everything. It's just for whatever reason that is the type of run they favor. Maybe it's because of their offensive line situation with injuries and everything like that. I truly don't know, but I would love to see just a little bit of variety tonight, like just a tiny little bit of variety. Run counter like once would be great, and maybe we can get Bijan going that way. Other than that, though, been kind of a frustrating offense to watch because I see all the talent, and I feel like they should be better than they are.
They have a lot of complementary parts. Yeah, when you're trying to build an offense from scratch and you look at what you need, if you were a theoretical offensive coordinator putting together the 33rd football team for the NFL, like what would you need? Well, you certainly need a quarterback. That's where it starts. Well, they have one, they might even have two. You would need an offensive line. They have a very good offensive line. You mentioned injuries, but again, they've got several players on this offensive line that play well and play well together. So you've got that. You would need a big wide receiver in the modern NFL. You've got Drake London. He's shown to be productive. You would need some complementary passing targets. Well, you've got Kyle Pitts for whatever he's worth in the NFL. Who really knows at this point? He was a legendary prospect coming out of college. That hasn't materialized in the NFL. You got Darnell Mooney, who I like a lot, mentioned in our offseason preview show that I thought he was going to be a very good sort of complementary role player, number 2, number 3 wide receiver. He and Kirk have seemed to have, at least Kirk's looking his way. I don't want to say connection because they haven't always hit it yet, but they've started to have that heat up, and he even kind of looks like wide receiver 1 in terms of where Kirk looks or expects folks to be. So you've got a couple of good wide receivers. You've got a possibly very solid tight end. You've got a very good to great offensive line when it's healthy. We already talked about Bijan in the backfield. You've got a quarterback or 2. There's no reason that this offense shouldn't be top 15 minimum, probably top 10. And they have not looked that way yet. They're still trying to find their stride. Zach Robinson and Kirk, Kirk admitted they're still kind of coming together on how to make this thing consistent, was the word he used. And I would agree. I don't think anybody watching the tape would disagree that they are looking for that consistency, down to down, drive to drive, to be able to always put up points and hopefully more touchdowns than field goals. But they haven't hit that level yet, and they really need to. It's a tough division, and if they don't get there, they're not going to be where they want to be at the end of the year.
Bright side, though, they at least have like the most money kicker in the NFL. So when they do stall out, they're doing all right. I want to get to a couple super chats here before I show off the underdog entry we got tonight. Double for $10. Thank you, Double. Just wanted your guys' thoughts on Jerry Jones admitting to holding back Kellen Moore's productivity. Sounds like he controls coaches. How do we know he doesn't do the same to Mike or the next head coach? I think there's a soundbite I must have missed somewhere. What did you see anything about this?
I didn't, but if it's true, this is my shocked face. I am not surprised. Jerry meddling with coaches has been rumored for a long time. Sometimes people inside the building, sometimes lots of people outside the building saying so. How much and to which particular coaches, it's been tamped down a lot in recent years. I think more from the football operations side, because for a while it was like, why is Jerry making these decisions in free agency or the draft? And then everybody for a while has said, no, it's Steven now. Like he's running the personnel side. It's not Jerry anymore, but nobody ever said, oh yeah, he's out of meddling with coaches as well. And if you look at why McCarthy was brought in or the circumstances under which Mike McCarthy was brought in and the fact that he was retained through some, let's just say, suboptimal results, I wouldn't be at all surprised that Jerry has a lot to do with that and is in his ear and saying things like, hey, you're here because I said you're here. You got to stay because I said so. I have some thoughts. And look, if you're a billionaire football owner, it's your prerogative. It's not necessarily good business, but it is your prerogative to say what you want to the people that you employ, as far as, football stuff goes, not all the other stuff we've seen owners do over time. I'm not condoning that.
I think, when we were, I'm going to word this carefully. When you and I were talking with somebody who would know, let's just say that, yes, about what the Cowboys operation is like. I think my favorite moment of that night was when we asked that question. We're like, so what's going on over there? Like, how are they running things? And like, why does everything always seem so messy? Remember, this is somebody who's very connected to the building. And they looked at us and they're like, you ever seen Succession? And we're like, oh no. And he's like, yeah. It's like, it's exactly like Succession. So that is the Cowboys. And that is why everything always seems like it's not running optimally, because it's not. I mean, they draft well. Clearly their draft process is great because they hit on a lot of players, not just in the first round, but day 2, day 3. And their marketing department is on fire. Kind of feels like everything else is, boy, not great. Not great. It's also part of the reason why I'm like not convinced Bill Belichick is going to go there, because it just doesn't seem his speed, to say the least.
Yeah, it's difficult when you have, let's just say, camps within any building, any organization. I think everybody's probably worked in an organization at some point where there were competing factions. Let's just say that. ramp that up with money, power, influence, ability, visibility, certainly, it doesn't get better. Like those cracks don't get plastered over; they just get wider. So not surprising to hear that news. Not sure again, like you, where it came from, but I'm not shocked at all that there may be influence peddling between the owner and coaches.
I do want to walk us through the Underdog entry real quick, and I'll throw the link to it in chat if you guys want to tail this at all. Because I did use, they have like a free pick token where you can turn any of these into 0 yards, 0 attempts, whatever it was. So I used that for this too.
Fancy.
And I also did a flex pick too. So technically, I only have to hit 3 out of 5, not 5 out of 5. So I'm making it a little bit easier on myself.
Feeling
tonight.
good there, Coleman?
Feeling okay. I mean, if I fuck this one up, then it's just I'm hopeless at this point.
You got to turn over the reins at that point.
So I got Levante David higher than 3.5 assists. I used my free pick token on Rashad White to get him. Originally, he's at 9 rushing attempts. I just made that 0 because I'm like, I'm not 100% sure they're going to give him 10 attempts. So let's just make that 0. I took Darnell Mooney. This is the risky one at 4.5 first quarter receiving yards. So I just need like 1 catch from Darnell Mooney, and I'm all right there. Baker higher than 243.5. I really, really trust him to get that done because he's been playing great. And then another one that is a little bit risky, but again, I only need 3 out of 5. Bijan Robinson lower than 91.5 total rushing plus receiving. So that's kind of what I got cooking tonight. Anything jump out at you as dumb?
Not necessarily dumb, however, notable, because you were not a Bucky Irving guy, and you were hedging Rashad White against Bucky Irving in week 5. Here we go.
I mean, they just keep giving him the ball, so I'm just acknowledging reality here.
Totally understand, but you are acknowledging reality, and I appreciate that. So that's what jumps out at me.
If you guys want to tail this, or if you want to completely fade it, because you do think I'm an idiot, of course, if you go to the QR code on the screen right now, or at the link in the description, and you use promo code BOOTLEG, you'll get up to $1,000 in deposit bonuses, as well as I think it's a DAC free pick for this Sunday's games as well. And you can put something in the next 20 minutes or so before TNF starts if you want to make this game a little bit more interesting than it already is. All right. Back to Super Chats real quick. Zoe Montgomery for $2. Rise up, take control of the NFC South. If there was ever an opportunity to do that, it would be 2 improbable back-to-back division wins for the Falcons. I'm still picking the Bucs, though, just to make that clear. EJ, are you also picking Tampa?
I'm picking the Bucs. I'm wearing my Atlanta shirt. This might be confusing to some folks because whenever I get a chance to wear this shirt from homage, I do it because it's one of the coolest shirts I got all summer in our summer preview series because it's just a really cool. I think it's the Grateful Dead variant, which I could care less about, but it's got this really cool Falcon on it. So again, chance Falcons are on TV. I'm wearing the Falcons shirt, but yes, if I had to put money on this game, I would bet it on the Bucs. They are clearly a team right now that is more settled and sort of in line in a groove with their identity. And I also just think the matchups, offense, defense on both sides of the ball favor the Bucs slightly, even though they are on the road. So yeah, I'm gonna take the road team.
Sub-Zero for $2. Wandale from the Giants or Gibson from New England. I think I lean Wandale there.
I would lean Wandale as well.
You know, he's going to get it 6 yards at a time, but he's going to get it 8 times. So
yeah, Dable is not gonna veer off the Wandale path. I think that is, if anything is clear at this point of the Dable tenure, it is that he loves him some Wandale, and that will be a featured part of every game plan going forward.
Hendog 1,000 for $10. We need Koo field goals and White and Irving touchdowns tonight in the Hendog household for fantasy purposes. Also, what's to drink tonight, gentlemen? Ooh, where did I put? Oh, here it is.
Good question.
So I am polishing off
that's a good bottle.
American single malt. This is from Virginia Distillery Company. It is their port cask finish American single malt. Well, technically it's a blend. I think they blend Scotch with American single malt, and then they finish it in port cask. But it's wonderful. So I got that tonight. I also have some tea, too, because I couldn't decide.
They've got a shot of Baker in the locker room watching a Mike Tyson walkout.
Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do.
Like the early 90s. That's crazy. To drink, Hen Dog, a beer actually that I brought back from Southern California from Brett's house. This is Rad Beers King Minutia. It's got a big King Minutia. There we go. King Minutia banner up the side of it. Pretty cool can art. It's a Pilsner. It's 16 ounce, quite delightful. Got a 4-pack of them while I was down there. Brought a couple back in the cooler, and this one survived. It did not blow up when I opened it. I did think, hey, I just transported this beer like 1,100 miles. I wonder if it's going to blow up all over my desk. It did not. So I'm pleased. Fortune smiles upon EJ so far tonight.
Well, fortune does not smile upon me. Hockey's just reminded me I have a Malort shot to do tonight because the Malort league. So I'm going to do that on stream. I'll probably do it in the second half because I have to go grab a shot glass to do that. I have the Malort.
Oh, really?
Over
You're
the
not
other side
just
of the
gonna.
Oh, just straight out of the bottle. I mean, I could, but I'm afraid if my wife watched this stream back later, she'd leave me just for doing that.
I was gonna say if that's what it took. Oh man. That's Malort out of the bottle, Malort out of a shot glass. Really not terribly different experience, I don't think.
Eric Celiax for $10. This weekend, Bears football. Can the Panthers be made to suffer by the first overall pick 2 years in a row and regret the trade twice? Also, if AR beats the Jags, he can start as long as he wants. I think, if anything, the Panthers are well aware that they made the wrong decision. I think at this point, them losing the game would just be beating a dead horse. Like, they know they screwed up. They are. Yeah,
they're in trouble. This is a weakened team. Like, they've taken major losses on defense, both through attrition. Obviously, Brian Burns leaves in a trade. Derek Brown, their best remaining player, goes down for the season with injury. They got rid of Frankie Louvu in free agency. And now Shaq Thompson, their longtime emotional leader, is probably on the shelf for the rest of the season as well. They just don't have the horses to make up for that side on defense. On the flip side, Bears defense is playing extremely well. I think even better than a lot of people are giving them credit for. They have been holding that team together as the offense figures it out. Offense looked like it started to figure it out, certainly in the run game last week. They need to polish off the Panthers. There's just no other way to say that. When a wounded foe comes to town in a game that you should win, if you want to be considered a good team, you got to bury them. And that's it. The Bears have to bury the Panthers. It shouldn't be a fair fight, and it should end quickly, maybe even in the first half. If it doesn't, if they squeak it out and, win by 2 points in the final minute or something, that's not a great result for Chicago. You got to put the Panthers down and do it quickly.
This is technically one of the 5 Andy Dalton revenge games he's going to play this year. So, don't count that out either, EJ.
Why do we never talk about Josh Johnson revenge games? Because
that's every week.
Yeah, he can't. I think the statistical impossibility is he goes into a game and it's not a revenge game from one side or the other that he's currently on. So anyways.
I think has there been more teams that he's played for than not played for at this point? I got to say it's close.
Officially, there are, but not in the NFL. So it's 17 teams, but they're in 4 different leagues.
I hope that the Hall of Fame has something Josh Johnson dedicated at some point, whether it's just a wall of his jerseys or because he's got to be the only guy to ever play for that many teams in that many leagues, the ultimate pro football player. And that's what it is. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, right?
For sure.
Legend. Cole Rubens says, don't forget your Malort shot, Brett. Don't worry, I won't. I will get it at some point. Ben Hermes for $5. Brett, why do the Lions always win when you think they'll lose? Are you reverse cursing them? If so, you can say that the Browns are going to win. I mean, I did pick Tampa over the Lions, and Tampa did beat the Lions. So I think I'm batting 500 in terms of betting the Lions to lose this year. But also, I can't remember if I ever picked them to win this year, which is odd because I like the Lions. I've said multiple times, I think they're going to be there in the end. It's just for whatever reason, every time we talk about the Lions, it happens to be a game that I think they're going to lose. Either way, they're great. I want to acknowledge they're great. They're at least going to be in the division round. Probably will be in the conference championship game. Yeah. But I just really like Tampa. I think Tampa's a tough matchup for a lot of these teams, and I think Tampa's going to be there, at least in the divisional round as well. They're also good. Let's see. Next one here from Riley for $10. Thank you, Riley. Brett, how does it feel to know a man named Titan Fleischman exists in the world? Yes, Titan Fleischman is an actual name of a college football player from, hold on, let me get the university. I have it here.
I've got my all-name team. Yeah, I've got my all-name team started. It's not finished. It will be revealed at some point, but every year the college all-name team is one of my favorites.
Montana State, Titan Fleischman, offensive tackle. And, of course, he's a tackle named Titan. Also, amazing names coming out in this year's draft class. Shunderick Powell, running back from Central Arkansas. Efton Chisholm III, wide receiver from Eastern Washington. Gray Zabel, tackle from North Dakota State. And then Riley Adcock, just for obvious reasons, the center from Mercer. Have to give our shout out to our Mercer players as well. So
absolutely.
Great names in this upcoming draft, as per usual. Zach Birchfield for $7. Do you guys think Kirk has another 2023 versus 49ers performance in him? Love bootleg football and skull. We love you too, Zach. Two, I think he has another 2023 versus 49ers performance left in him. In theory, yes.
Yeah, I think it's possible for sure. Like, he hasn't forgotten how to play quarterback. He doesn't have every bit of physical ability. We've seen him, for lack of a better term, really have to stretch on stretch plays to get out. The first couple of weeks, you could see that, leg strength and flexibility just wasn't there. So he doesn't have all those things, but he's still throwing the ball pretty well. I know Big Whit
did lead that game-winning drive, in primetime a couple weeks ago. Like, it's there. That was only 2 minutes, but if he just did that for another 57 minutes or so, like, yeah, of course.
Theoretically, it's there. Are there many of them left? I don't think there are a ton, but that doesn't mean you don't know that one's going to pop out this week and be like, "Baha, we beat the Bucs team because Bootleg picked the Bucs and they thought they were really good, so we just waxed them at home." Okay.
645 for $5. Met Jawan Taylor's family at the Atlanta KC game. Gassed them up by complimenting the technique he used in that video you put out last year. Let's go. Appreciate it. I hope you didn't tell them that I'm the reason why he keeps getting flagged, because I think I might actually be. But he's great.
I think that's true.
That's awesome. Michael Horn for $10. Thank you, Michael. EJ, how do you feel about Tom Brady saying he almost went to the Chicago Bears on national television? I had not heard that.
Yeah, this is old news, actually, and those of us that follow the league a little bit more closely and certainly are related to Chicago in some way knew this. This is old news. Dan Patrick reported this 5 years ago. Like,
did he? Like, before he went to the Bucs, he almost went to the Bears?
Yeah. Remember when Tom Brady said at one point, like, he said there was a team that he was talking to, and his question to the team was, "You're going to go with that, mother?"
I thought that was about Derek Carr. Was that about Mitch?
It's quite possible that it was about Mitch. Not necessarily that statement, but it was recorded in that uproar, flurry of comments and speculation. Dan Patrick reported this, and it's been out there and on record for the while that Chicago was one of the teams, whether that comment was about Mitch or not, that Chicago was indeed one of the teams that he was talking to. I don't feel one way or another about it. I'm not particularly sure that even Tom Brady would have fixed that era of Bears. Would he have made them better? Yes, absolutely. He certainly is better than who they had at quarterback, as he said himself. Organizationally, I'm not sure that he would have found the same situation that he did find in Tampa and take to the Super Bowl. It would have been Herculean effort for Tom to organize all the things that were disorganized at that time and get everybody pulling in a line. Is it possible? I believe it's possible. It's not terribly probable in my mind, and we might have a very different sort of end of career story for Tom. I'm happy that he got that Super Bowl in Tampa and got to ride off in the sunset in that particular way. I don't really feel one way or another about it. And I've known it for a while, so it's not new to me. I don't have all the emotion of being like, what?
I'm happy he went to Tampa just because that means Mike Evans, Levante David, Vita Vea, like, they all got rings, and I don't think they ever would have without Tom. So if that's
Yeah.
what it takes to get, Mike Evans and Levante David in the Hall of Fame, it's a worthy sacrifice. Because I'm still not entirely sure that he would have won it in Chicago. I think Tampa actually probably had a better support system at that point.
I agree.
Craig Petzinger for $5. Thank you, Craig. Hey, gents, thoughts on the Lions matchup versus the Cowboys after the bye? All right, EJ, hold your hat. I'm actually going to pick the Lions to win a game. I think that they would murder Dallas at this point.
I was going to say, I was actually going to be really surprised if you came up for the Cowboys, or I was like, wait, what? No, the Cowboys right now do not match up in any functional positive way versus the Lions. The Lions should take that game going away.
It would take an all-time performance by Dak and CD.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of the Lions corners, and they're all young, I don't think any of the Lions corners can handle CD. Then again, like almost no corners can handle CD. But I'm talking like 15 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like that's what it's going to take.
Plus a rushing touchdown on some orbit motion thing, which just isn't going to happen.
Like if you thought the Cowboys in general struggle to stop the run, now put them up against a Lions run game with that offensive line, Ragnow or not, without Micah, without Tank Lawrence, like they would get run out of the building. So that's kind of why I look at the Cowboys schedule, and I think it's legitimately possible that if they don't beat the Steelers, they could go like 3-8 to start the season. And then we're just looking at, all right, we're done. Like we're shutting this down. Micah's on IR for the year because why would he come back and risk?
Yep.
Which I can't remember if they said it's technically possible for Micah to come back or not. I haven't followed up on the severity of the injury, but like if this team starts off with like a really rocky record, like he's not gonna come back. Like why would he? And then Mike's gonna get fired, and then like they're gonna blow this thing up. And I think that's a legitimate possibility just looking at their schedule. Because A, this is not a very good team. They're like mid, like the most mid team in the entire NFC. And B, they have a brutal schedule. Like if you look at their schedule week after week after week, it's killers. It's the Steelers. They already got waxed by the Ravens. They got the Lions. They got another matchup against the Giants, who came perilously close to beating them as it is. They got to play the Eagles
I just
again.
love that you say killers and the third team out of your mouth is the Giants.
Giants defensive line and Malik Neighbors.
Sure.
The rest of them, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe.
They got to play the commies again. Like it's tough. It's tough. Donovan V for $5. Who ends up being the hotter head coaching candidate this offseason? Liam Cohen, Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson, or Clint Kubiak? I default to Ben Johnson there just because he's such a proven commodity at this point that he's still the number one name on the list. Liam Cohen, I think, is probably going to be in Tampa at least 2 years. I think if we're looking at like who's in order, it would be Ben Johnson, then Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, Slowick, just depending on how the Texans do, because they're in a bit of a, I don't want to say slump, but they've plateaued a bit.
Yeah.
And everybody's watching right now to see if he has the next counterpunch. And what you said about Ben Johnson is he's been through that for a couple of cycles now. He's going into the third one. He's had the counterpunch. He has kept them right where he's needed to keep that team, to keep them as competitive as they need to be, right at the top of their conference. So when you say proven commodity, he already has that. Slowick is sort of facing one of his first, I'm not even going to say big tests, just tests of like, okay, everybody knows what you're trying to do now. Are you going to adapt? Can you do that? You have pretty good talent, well, really good talent. Can you keep them rolling? And if he can, he'll be number 2 with a bullet on that list. If they sort of muddle through the rest of the year and it doesn't get a whole lot better, he's still going to be on the list, but he might not be as hot. And that was the question, who's going to be the hottest head coaching candidate, as somebody that has a hot hand going into, the end of the year, sneaks them into the playoffs, sneaks their team into the playoffs. And then somebody's thinking, hey, I want to grab that guy before everybody else does, get him in as a head coach. We've seen teams be willing to gamble earlier and earlier in that situation.
I also wouldn't rule out Brian Flores getting another shot. It just depends on how he interviews and the assistants that he can get lined up. But I would not rule out Flores getting a shot. I would not rule out. It might be 1 year early for Jesse Minter, but he's just so good, and I know he's on that track.
That I think they'll give him 1 more year to figure it out because he needs some personnel too.
That's true. And then, I think the wild card in all of this is Sark. If Texas wins the Natty, and he's going to have a choice to make because Sark, I'd be willing to bet is on the short list for the Cowboys job. And so then you're choosing, okay, do I try to go back-to-back with Arch, or do I take the Cowboys job? And that's honestly a very tough call. I don't know what he would do.
It depends on what he is more comfortable doing. We've seen coaches on both sides say, no, I'm either happier where I am, or man, my competitive juices are going. I want to make the jump to what is a very different playing field. And I'm not just talking about the field itself, which is obviously very different, but it's a completely different model from college to the pros. And it takes a different skill set, and it takes a different mindset. Some guys are going to relish that challenge, and some guys are going to, David Shaw for years at Stanford said, no, man, I'm in Palo Alto. They're paying me a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
I love the situation. No, I don't want to go back to the NFL. I like it here quite a bit. Stayed for a long time. Was good to his word there. So, it'll be fascinating. But all right, we got Falcons ball.
All right. Is this going to be outside zone week?
Oh, it looked like it.
Oh no, it's outside zone strong. Let's go.
I was like, wait. Oh no, they went the way they lined up.
This is the other one.
Again, we're gonna see some script, and script is really interesting. Came out. Somebody put up some stats today about the shocking difference between Kyler Murray on script and off in terms of effectiveness. And there are just some quarterbacks that play quite a bit better, in the first 20 to 25 plays. Oh, there's a good ball to Pitts. Sorry, Jack. So Jack, Jack, again, good morning. Welcome in. Was one of the first ones here, and he asked whether to go Pitts or Conklin. And I was like, well, it's tough to bet on Pitts.
Well, here's the thing. That could very easily be his only catch of the night.
I understand that, but boy, that's a great classic. And this was why we were so excited when Cousins signs with Atlanta, right? Because Cousins, of all the quarterbacks, so much has been made of play action rollout. Like play action boot rollout is Kirk Cousins' life in the NFL in a nutshell. And he loves him some tight ends. Mm-hmm. He has made the most out of tight ends at previous stops. So, you're like, hey, oh my God, Kyle Pitts might come back to life. He's getting a quarterback who loves to throw to the tight end. And then through the first 4 weeks, it's been not really. So great to see them opening up with that. I really appreciate Zach Robinson. Again, that is a scripted shot. Zach Robinson had that on the play sheet all week. We're going to try and open up Kyle Pitts early. Oh. Sadness.
There was my one shot at Darnell Mooney, 4.5 first quarter yards.
Look at Kirk looking at the big screen why did he drop that?
Mainly because you left it short and inside, Kirk.
He kind of back shouldered him and left it to the inside. If you're going to back shoulder, you got to throw it to the other side of him. And I know Big Wit had a piece pregame highlighting that there's been some inconsistency in Cousins' ball location that we don't typically see, known as a very, very accurate thrower. This year we've seen exactly that. Some throws that are on the wrong side of receivers, a little bit late. There's a dart to London in the middle, looking sharp so far. So Falcons have come out fired up in this first drive. This is what they needed, quite frankly, in their home building, in front of the fans. Again, Matt Ryan going to the Hall of Fame. He's, right now he could be sitting on 3 very good completions to Pitts, Darnell Mooney, and London, which are the 3 most important, pass receivers in this offense. And, they tried the first play. Again, a little bit of outside zone strong.
What I'm finding interesting, though, is it's not a whole lot of hard play action. It's like true drop back passing here. They're not asking Kirk to turn his back. And also, they're not trying to get Bijan to execute a run fake and then pick up somebody in protection. It kind of feels like they're acknowledging, like, hey, this is a blitz-heavy defense early on. Like, let's not slow ourselves down with a run fake. Like, let's just line up. Yeah. You know, we're going to free up Bijan to not have to execute a fake and then do protection. It's just Bijan, go find your guy and hit him. And they're sitting back there and slinging it. Oh, we got a little pistol action here. Deep pistol. Super pistol.
He's super pistol. Oh man. Okay.
Oh, and he scored. Jesus.
There
all
we
right.
Go.
Again, it was just pure drop back passing. Like they ran it twice?
Defensively, I didn't have a wide enough shot to see what the safeties were doing. Okay, this would be better.
Yeah, it was just quarters.
It's like, but it's like not the man part of quarters. It's like spot drop quarters. Everybody just went to their little assigned space, regardless of where the receivers were, and there's a huge area. I mean, that far down in the red zone to leave London. I mean, he had 3 yards of space when he caught that ball from any defender in the red zone. Or what are we?
Well,
what are we doing here?
The idea, if you're running spot drop zone in the red zone, is okay, rally and tackle. Like that's the whole point is rally and tackle. The problem is if you don't rally and tackle, then you just get scored on. So
yeah, that looked shockingly easy and good for the Falcons. Great first drive for them in their own building. Cousins sharp enough, like not razor sharp, but on target, on time. Like you said, no dallying. We're not going to mess with fakes. We're going to have, 2 solid routes that Kirk's going to go through. He's going to throw the one he likes better, and we're just going to see how that works. And it worked amazingly well. They just carved up the Bucs. There was no resistance there.
EJ, were you a Rook Orhorhoro guy in the draft?
Orhorhoro? I love me some Rook Orhorhoro.
So Deos Praetorian for $2 said, what are you hoping to see from Rook tonight?
It's not even necessarily tonight. Like, I would like to see him play solidly, but I really feel like Rook is going to be one of those guys that in 2 years or 3 years we look back and go, man, he's a really solid player. I didn't think he was going to be a big flash first-year guy. I think he's got a lot of skills the NFL really likes. I don't necessarily know that they're the ones that sell tickets. Let's put it that way. He is a big, strong dude. He does have speed to penetrate, but I don't necessarily know that they're going to use him that way. And it reminds me of another guy, Brian Bresee, who his first year was okay, and this year is really starting to come on. It's like he's fully over his injuries, and we're seeing a lot more flashes. We saw flashes in Brian Bresee's first year in New Orleans, but this year we're seeing more quick penetrations. There's a great shot of him rolling over a guard last week. We're starting to see that. I can see Rook in year 2 and year 3 doing more of that. I just want him to be solid. Like I don't want him to get highlighted in a bad way tonight, which is, ooh, look at that. Rook got moved out of his gap and they scored. Like
I'm trying to see how many snaps he's played so far, and I don't think he's had any snaps yet.
Yeah.
So is this his first game that he's been active? Is there an injury that I haven't even seen?
I haven't checked his activity and whether or not he made the 48 for game day, but I think he is going to be a guy that grows into being a very solid pro and hangs around the league for quite some time. I never had him in the category of some flashier defensive linemen who I really thought, like Braden Fisk, for example. Like I fully expected Braden Fisk to be doing what he's doing right now with the Rams when he got drafted, because that's just his game. Like he's either going to do that or he's not going to do anything at all. It's either going to work and he's going to blow up, opposing backfields, or he's just going to prove to be, not up to snuff in the NFL. And he's proving to be every bit ready for the NFL right now. So Rook is more like a lot of other, I would say, larger frame, longer arm defensive tackles who are quite strong and are going to get really good at reading keys and playing with leverage and controlling gap and a half and contributing in that way. And that's not near as sexy to the average NFL watcher.
Ooh.
All right, Baker's first shot with the ball and good solid connection to Evans to start off. So kind of feels like a game of horse so far.
Yeah, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned Big 12 game here, boys. I just looked it up, by the way. Rook is active for the first time this season
there you
tonight,
go.
So that would explain why he doesn't have any snaps yet.
That would explain the reason for the question. Thank you for bringing that one up. I had not been following Rook's path since he was drafted, but we'll keep an eye out for him.
All right, quarters look from the Falcons. And, all right, there's one of
I was going to say, ding, ding, ding.
Rachaad White carries tonight. We'll see. That actually is something I'm paying attention to a lot tonight, is who actually gets the load between Rachaad and Bucky, because this Falcons run defense can be run on a little bit.
But you don't need 9 carries from Rachaad, correct? Well,
I already hit the over. I needed 1.
That's right.
Because I used the gimme token.
You needed Un with
Cash
the token, and you hit it.
There
you go.
But I still do need.
You should be recording every win that you get. Yeah, you do need. You didn't even catch one. Baker threw him one, and they didn't catch it. That's a key for the Falcons defense, because Baker, even good Baker, will give you an opportunity and a half to catch the ball on defense. And Terrell, very good corner, just couldn't quite bring that one in. And
you could argue for illegal contact on that.
Sure.
Theoretically. It's not like the strongest penalty, but you could argue for it.
You could argue for it, but, cue the classic. If he could catch, he'd be playing offense. All right, Baker. Oh, another drilled shot. Evans is – did you see Evans and Quinyon Mitchell going back and forth?
Yeah. The kid didn't back down.
Fun. No, that was a lot of fun. And Mike Evans pulls the classic, "Don't you know who I am?" Oh, I thought that was great on both sides. It's just super fun content that comes out of the NFL.
All right, man blitz there on 3rd and 5, which is a pretty staple Falcons call there, where they bring 5 and then just play man with a single post safety high. Bucs had a pretty good answer for it with crossing routes that are typically very good against man coverage, but then Mike got drilled in the ribs. So.
That's a good defensive call against what they thought was coming.
Uh-oh. Somebody's hurt.
Uh-oh.
Looked like a receiver, but I couldn't get a number.
There has been a lot of attrition this year in the NFL. There is every year, but this year feels especially brutal. Seems like every day 2 or 3 notices come out, done for the season. That doesn't look good. Looks like he's in a lot of pain.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
He's one of their UDFAs this year, I believe, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
hopefully that
great defensive call by the Bucs. Yeah, hopefully it all works out good. Great defensive call, not by the Bucs, against the Bucs. The Falcons really thought the Bucs were going to run right there. They put 5-man surface on. They don't pull any of them. They just float with it and be like, all right, you're going to have to try and run through us. They made a little bit of a dent in it, but Falcons did a very nice job closing up the holes in the back end. It was a small gain. That's just kind of one of those. Yep, we tried it. Write that one off. Okay, we're gonna have to make that look like something else if we're gonna run it again, because they've got the answer for that one.
Sub-Zero for $2. Thoughts on Bama's 17? Ooh, hold on. There we go. Had it.
Thoughts on Bama's 17-year-old wonder kid?
Yeah, the receiver, I think was the question.
Yeah, who can't vote yet? That kid?
I think the question was, who does he remind you of? And I'll tell you what, he looks exactly like Devonta when Devonta was at Bama.
I disagree. I think, physically in a lot of ways he does, just because he's 17, but his ability for the extremely flashy play, I think in base play, you could argue that he does. Devonta was so solid. Such a great route runner, great releases, very strong through contact. Of course, everybody famously said, "Oh, he's too small." And I was like, have you watched him play? He doesn't play small, plays through contact. But that little pirouette on the sidelines and then following it up with another pirouette to score, that feels to me, certainly as a 17-year-old, even more dynamic than Devonta. Devonta is incredibly effective, but that is like a special level of, I would just say, natural ability, natural sort of flash. Like, how did your brain at 17 even figure out to do that? Right.
It's just instinct.
Super
right
impressive. Exactly. And that instinct for a huge play in a huge moment in that game, and it looked effortless, looked easy, looked like he was playing backyard football. And he's not. He's in the SEC. It's ridiculous. So, sky's the limit for him. I just hope he stays healthy and we just get to keep watching him because that dude is extremely entertaining.
Again,
there's Rook.
Yeah, first Rook sighting tonight. Again, though,
Yeah,
Bucs just not getting anything on the ground.
Yeah, hard to miss him. Number like 98, and it's spread across his back, which is like 2.5 feet wide. He's a big, big player.
Rashad White, negative 176 rush yards over expected since 2022, fewest in the NFL. Yikes.
Wah, wah. That's not the stat you want. We like Rashad White.
Ashton Jeanty, you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Oh, boy. Speaking of people that are wildly talented, I realize it's very early for draft talk. It is not too early to talk about Ashton Jeanty from Boise State.
Is it
the
Jeanty
running
or
back.
Jeanty?
Jeanty. I'm not exactly sure. I have to go back and listen to how my go-to for that is Dane Brugler.
Yeah.
Because Dane is locked down on pronunciations from the time they're like freshmen. I think it's Jeanty.
Okay. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think it's Jeanty. We'll get it dialed in. But anyways, the running back from Boise State. Wow. It's a heck of a catch through contact. Is ridiculous. And I mean like historically ridiculous. I know everybody's saying running backs don't matter and whatever. Just bag all that. Ashton Jeanty is he's an all-time player. Like,
yeah, if you're looking at speed, contact balance, like all of it, he's a Bijan level prospect, truly. And he might be better.
He's higher than that.
I don't know.
And I mean, Dane is conservative in his approach, and I really appreciate about that. I mean, he's not prone to hyperbole. And he was on with Robert Mays on the Athletic podcast this week, and the two comps that rolled out of his mouth were Barry Sanders and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay, sure.
And Dane doesn't do that. Like, he just doesn't. Like, that is not, he normally goes the other way and tries to tamp down expectations and say, hey, there's just a kid. But like, in talking about not necessarily who he is totally as a player, but who he reminds him of, what the skill set looks like, the level of ability that he displays sort of across the running back skill set. He was like, I know I'm just gassing this kid up and setting him up for failure, but like that's who I see when I watch him. And if you look at speed, power, contact balance, vision, all of these things, like Jeanty's got them all. Like he's one of those guys where you just check all the boxes and you just go all. He's amazing as a player. We're going to be talking about him a lot. All
right, low red zone opportunity here.
Uh-oh, that didn't go the way he thought.
Hell of a design.
Mike Evans. Yeah, Mike Evans is eating tonight. That I wonder. Okay, here's the conspiracy theorist in me. That I wonder if they designed that to look like a bust.
I think they designed it to. I mean,
Baker's turn.
But no, they designed it to look like it was going to be just a straight up, sprint, the same way that the Texans won, right? Where it's like, oh, we're going to hit the flat. But when you have Evans trailing behind it, the idea is that the weight of the defense is going to shift to the 2-level read in the end zone. You got one in the back pylon, you got one in the front pylon. And so if everybody's eyes are looking left, nobody's looking back, to Mike
just cruises across,
sitting there.
and he is wide open. So first 2 touchdowns of this game were thrown to wide receivers who had nobody within 3 yards of them. Now, London had to finish it up and run it in. Evans was already in the end zone when he caught his, but there was nobody even close.
Well, it's good to see that Mike Evans and baby Mike Evans both scored so far. I do want to add one note on Jeanty, by the way. Before they played Oregon, Dan Lanning had a meeting with the Oregon defense, and he sat all the guys down. He's like, look, you all need to understand this is the best one we're facing all year. Yep. And they're in the Big Ten, right? They have multiple NFL running backs they're going to be facing throughout the season. He's like, this is the best one. It's not even close. He is different. He can beat us. And then you watch what happened in the Boise State game, and he put up like 200 yards. I think it was like 203 touchdowns, something like they knew going into it. Like Boise State was not surprising Oregon, and he just beat the brakes off them like single-handedly. A very well-coached Oregon defense.
Yeah, Lanning came from Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Like, he fully understands what you need to do to stop powerful tailbacks, and he's had several years to assemble his level of talent in Oregon. That is a very good and well-coached football team that is not short players. And he didn't get surprised. This wasn't some, bolt out of the blue, pun intended, where some rando running back rolls into town and, maybe you were a little soft scouting that week and you're like, holy cow, that kid's really good. No, Jeanty had offers from SEC teams. He had offers from big programs to leave Boise. He left, Dane said he, quote unquote, left money on the table. Now, Boise ponied up to keep him, but not to the level that, was going to be possible if he went to the SEC. So, again, no surprises here. They knew who he was. They knew how good he was. Everybody knows how good he is. They spent all week focusing on that.
Didn't do anything.
He ran roughshod over them. And when you're scouting players from schools not in the top level of competition, the first games you go and look for are the best competition they played all year. And the Ducks are clearly some of the best competition, if not the best competition that Jeanty's going to face all year. And he
wasn't even close.
Mollywopped them. No, it was ridiculous. So really, really good player.
Just Vibing for $50. Thank you, Just Vibing. Once again, welcome back for the week. Stat time for you guys. Kevin O'Connell is 21-0 as the Vikings head coach when they win or break even in the turnover battle. Some people said he was on the hot seat entering this season, by the way. Who said Kevin O'Connell was on the hot seat?
It was not us. I'll tell you that.
We need to revoke their take license because
do
you understand how fast he would get hired if Kevin O'Connell
there are
became
so
free agent?
many other coaches that you could make some kind of argument for. Like, honestly, if we were doing the reverse, like if we were picking the coldest seats in the NFL, how many from the end do you think he would be before he got picked?
No more than 5.
I was going to say it can't be more than like 8 because I just don't think the Steelers are going to fire Tomlin.
Yeah, I mean, Andy,
guys like that.
Andy, Kyle, McVay, Tomlin, Campbell.
Yeah, it's no more at the outside, no matter how you feel about him. He's like 8 from the end of the list, not the other way around. He's nowhere near the warm end of the list. He's on the dead, freezing cold end of the list.
Did I just get my Darnell? Yes.
Oh, are you 2 for 2 so far in the first quarter? I mean, you did use a token, but still, I'm going to take the wins here.
If I get 5 for 5, I win $200 on just a $20 entry. So
let's go.
That would stop a lot of the bleeding I've had over the last couple of weeks.
I love it how you don't say all of the bleeding.
I think that would put me over even. I think right now I'm at about even overall. I think that would put me over even. All right. We'll see. I need Levante to get a shit ton of tackles, though.
Oh!
And I'm okay with the Falcons, getting rush yards as long as it's not Bijan. So Tyler Algier, give him as many carries as you want, guys.
That's right.
I'm
But
right with that.
also having quite a bit of success against Bucs defense that it has been difficult to run on, but we said that they were going to have to stop this exact play. They knew it was coming. You highlighted it, and uh,
Well,
yeah,
the key is not having Vita Vea out there apparently, and
no,
running at
they
Gaines
did not.
instead.
They did not close that hole, and we like Greg Gaines, Husky pride, but not the same level of player. Oh, he
Got it.
did. He dropped it in there.
Well, Kirk is playing extraordinarily well so far. He's accurate. He's on time.
Yeah, he knows where he's going with the football. It seems like a lot of exactly what he said he needed to get with Zach Robinson, that consistency down to down, the kind of thing that keeps drives going, is starting to show up.
And even, with the run game largely not being a huge factor, they're still just kind of marching the ball down the field, which is nice.
Wait, what? Oh, I thought that was coming.
Yeah, that did not have the look of an actual attempt at giving Darnell Mooney a carry. That looked
No.
like they were trying to set something up.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, you kind of have momentum there. I didn't really feel like that was the time to call a trick play, but whatever.
A lot better than when you're desperate. Trick plays are the most fickle play in football. That's all I'm going to say about that, because no matter when you call them, whether it's behind and you're desperate or whether it's you're rolling like that and you have momentum, like if it works, everybody loves it. And if it doesn't work, everybody goes, that was dumb. Why'd you do that? What a waste. Which is funny because very few people say that about a 2-yard run into the middle of the line.
I always look at those as okay, if you don't have a spark and you're just trying to do something, okay. But it's if you're rolling already, I don't want to burn a 1st and 10 in a
So you and
just
Andy
outside
Reid
the
are
red
not
zone.
friends?
I'll give Andy a
'Cause Andy-
pass just because
Okay,
they're still
all
going to
right.
put up 30 points anyway, unless all the
Maybe.
receivers get hurt. But
Oh, well, there you go. There's a fine caveat, Coleman. I
back when the
appreciate that.
Chiefs offense was great, okay, you can burn one of 60 plays and they're still going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you notice they kind of stopped doing all of the
See?
there's Vita. You notice they stopped doing all the trick play stuff though once their offense became kind of garbage, because they're we can't afford to burn these plays.
Yeah, this right. We don't have the cushion we used to have. Oh boy. Oh, come on.
Oh, we get
That was a Bijan on Vita
Bijan Vita Vea.
And Bijan was like, what do you want me to do, guys? I'm not really going to make a business decision, but I'm not really going to stop him either. So, what? Why?
And you saw
why are we
Bijan
doing this?
peel his head away, oh, I must have a different responsibility, acting like he's just making a mental error when really it's my life is flashing before my eyes. I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
Kirk,
Did
you're going
he?
to take one for the team.
Oh, did we get bailed out by a flag, or was it a flag on the Falcons? Because you jinxed the kicker pregame. Good for you. Appreciate that.
Oh, I think it's a defensive penalty.
Oh, they get another shot at it. Oh, so the coup miss is erased. It never happened. Yep. A lot of movement on that line. Baker's guys, let's not give them extra chances. They're playing pretty well tonight.
Still, though, if you're trading 3s for 7s, it's still what you want.
Did he miss it again?
What's going on?
What did you say to him?
2 in a row?
Yeah. From not that far away.
It's Younghoe Koo.
I am fully aware. And it's Younghoe kicked it left. That's not twice.
Since when does he get the yips? That's insane.
I don't know.
Jay Crossover for $10. Hey guys, thoughts on Garrett Wilson's dynasty value? Need a running back too, but best offers I have is Brian Robinson and a 2 or a late 1 a late 1, a 3, and Adonai. My wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Marv, Rome, and Dontavian Wicks. Do I keep or sell them? If you're getting a first rounder, a third rounder, and A.D. Mitchell for Garrett Wilson, I would do that. Because it's very possible the Jets are about to get Devontae Adams, and then he's going to be the number 2 there anyway for the next 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now would be a time to sell Wilson if you could.
Do it now.
The running back piece, I like Brian Robinson from a production standpoint, but from a value standpoint, you got to try and bolster that additional compensation. Because Wilson and Aaron Rodgers do not seem to. They just haven't quite gotten it yet. It reminds me of DJ Moore and Caleb. They just haven't quite gotten it yet. They're both good players, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney never really happened. There were some fits and starts, but especially last year, he just couldn't find him. I was very happy for Darnell that he got to move on. Certainly it looks like he's established an early rapport with Kirk. He's got to catch more that show up to him. It's not just a this week problem, but there are just some times when a quarterback and wide receiver, they just don't see the game the same way. It leads to, frustration. We've seen it with every quarterback. Like Tom Brady had guys that he just had differences of opinion with, and they just never saw the ball again because he was like, no, I'm going to throw to the guys who see it the same way I do, and I know they're going to be there. And it's a comfort thing.
Tyler Moody for $5. Ben Johnson to the Bears, ? What are the chances? Would the McCaskies even shill out the money?
No. No, because Ben Johnson, it was rumored, and I don't have any confirmation positively or negatively of this. It was rumored that his ask was ridiculous. His ask was extremely high.
Because he wanted to stay in Detroit unless somebody came in and said, make it worth my while.
Blew the doors off. And that combination, nice little screen by the Bucs to Godwin. That combination and the Bears' reticence to pay big money, especially to coaching staff when they already have coaches under contract, is oil and water. It's theoretically makes a ton of sense. It'd be great to steal him from a division rival, add him to the weakest part of your team. Certainly the offense needs the most development. It's super tempting. In reality, short of an ownership change in Chicago, I don't see it happening. Wow.
Oh, there's Bucky Irving.
Yeah. Running like Bucky Irving does. God, I do love me some Bucky Irving, but you already know that.
I mean, in one carry, I think he just eclipsed Rachaad White's production for the game. So,
yeah, it won't be long before he is the starter. Just plain old starter, not like spot starter, not like we're trying it out starter. Just like, hey, when we put Bucky in, we get that. When we put Rachaad White in, we get less. Rashaad's going to be the backup, and we're going to run Bucky because Bucky does that.
It's just Rachaad is such an historically inefficient volume runner.
Oh, big shot from Baker.
Got it. Oh, he left it too much.
Yeah.
If you put some air on that,
yeah,
let him run under it, he could have had that. Oh, man, The look was there to hit the deep post with no safety help there. Man, that was the play. That was the call.
That was it. That was the one.
Because you had Mike holding.
Look at Liam.
He knew he had it because he had Mike holding the field side safety post behind it.
There is no sadness like an offensive coordinator that knows they just wasted the perfect deep shot. All right. I'll take that. That's a very solid play by Baker in this offense to come back. 3rd and short, or 3rd and very manageable. You're keeping your offense on track. You're not necessarily ahead of the sticks, but you're at them. You have a very good chance to pick this up. Even if you were 3 yards farther away, your odds would go down quite a bit. They know, hey, it's not the sexiest things. Little flare pass on 2nd down, run to the sidelines. Now we've got, 3rd and very makeable 3. Let's go. Oh, they ran basically the same pattern, but Falcons tightened up. Mike Hughes Says no free passes.
Ball, unfortunately, again, behind Godwin there.
Yep.
So, tough catch. Very tough catch. If Baker just put it on the other side, he would have had that for a first. But it's tough. Like when you're doing a speed cut and you're leaning that far outside because you're expecting the ball to be here and then you put it on the back hip, it's really hard. Unless you're Justin Jefferson, it's really hard to kind of then like lean this way and then contort that way. Yeah. Just can't do it.
Uh-oh. Well, Bucs look like they got their kicking dialed in. Wah, wah, wah.
At least one kicker hits tonight. All right, back to Super Chats real quick here. Alex Humphreys for $10. Thank you, Alex. The Cowboys only ever hire mid and obvious coaches, either someone they know or someone old who won a ring. So who's the most boring, obvious choice that they're going to hire? Dion? I wouldn't say that's boring, but it does feel obvious.
It's not boring, that's for sure. It would be anything but boring. I also don't know that it would be terribly effective. Well, I don't think it would be terribly effective.
Colorado has a decent shot of making a run at the Big 12 if Colorado ends up in like the Big 12 title game. Because Shadour's going to the NFL, Travis is going to the NFL. Those are like the two kids he cares about the most.
For sure.
There would be nothing holding him at Colorado, and obviously he knows Jerry, and Jerry loves him. I wouldn't be surprised.
Fit-wise, no, I would not be terribly surprised. I also don't think it's necessarily the greatest move for the Cowboys. Who is the most retread mid Cowboys type coach that
Doug
I can
Peterson?
think of? It feels like that feels very much like a McCarthy arc clone at this point.
What's John Fox doing?
He's actually on a staff. I saw him on a sideline the other day.
Okay, there we go.
He might even be on Peterson's staff.
Nagy? See Nagy?
No. Nagy is so not Cowboys coach. Mm-mm.
Let's see, who's like a splashy hire that really doesn't move the needle at all?
Oh, man. It's a fun exercise. I appreciate the question.
Chip Kelly.
Oh, boy.
No, Chip's never leaving Ohio State. Chip is enjoying his time there.
Yeah, I would say that was oil and water from a franchise perspective anyways, because Chip likes to shake things up. And as we mentioned,
Pete Carroll.
I could see it. I don't know that Pete would want to do it. Like, I could see it, but I think Pete looks that way on the surface, but I actually don't think he's that way underneath, if that makes sense.
I think
a lot of the stuff going on in the Cowboys building would bother him.
It depends on if Pete feels a certain type of way about, still wanting to coach and feeling like he had that taken from him by the Seahawks, which he kind of did. He got pushed out.
Yep, for sure.
Or they could have just hired Dan Quinn, but, what do I know?
Yeah. Now that would have actually probably been effective, which is why I thought it wouldn't happen. Because as our question poser aptly laid out, they don't do that. They describe the ineffective ones.
Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, that one maybe. I could actually see that.
Yeah, what comes around goes around, huh? So Kirk still firing darts. I know it's not first quarter, so it doesn't count for your Mooney stats, but that one actually hit him between the numbers. Pretty good location for that particular route. You're not going to get one more off, Kirk. You're probably not. And no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think they're even going to try.
No, they were going to try, but he didn't see how little time he had left. And that's okay. Just the end of the first quarter, not the end of the half. You're not going to lose possession, so.
Zoe Montgomery for $5. As a Boise State / Falcons fan, I am begging for him to not go to the Bucs or any other NFC South team for that matter. Of course, talking about Jeanty.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to go high enough, I think, that I don't think you're going to have to worry about that, because I think the only team in the division that might be picking high enough that makes sense for Jeanty is Carolina, but Carolina just took Jonathan Brooks. So unless Tampa is doing the whole, like, our missing piece is a running back thing, and they trade up for it. I think you're safe there. If I'm looking
yeah, he's
at
gonna go like top 20 for sure. Like unless there's an injury, he's gonna go top 20. He's that good.
so right now the current NFL draft order. I know we're 4 weeks into this season.
Oh, really? Are we doing this?
Current NFL
This
draft
breaks like
order:
lots of rules.
Jacksonville, Miami, New England, Cincy, Cleveland, Tennessee. Jacksonville's a no. Like they wouldn't take a running back first overall because they have
No,
two of them.
they wouldn't. They have other needs, but Miami wouldn't take him that high either. But can you even imagine, just from a skill set perspective, what Mike McDaniel would do with him?
Jeanty is like Voltron of all the existing Dolphins running backs together. Like
Yeah, except bigger.
Yeah.
Like I know Mostert's not small, and we kind of sleep on some of their other backup running backs in terms of size, but like, yeah, he's just like a superpower conglomeration of things that Mike McDaniel would want.
Unfortunately, the problem is if Skylar Thompson is the one handing the ball off.
No, they too
anywhere.
have other needs.
New England is not going to take a running back, even though he'd be sick. Cincy?
With where they're going to be, again, they're going to have other needs.
It would be fun.
It would start to be in the realm of, I could maybe see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's like at least outside possible. And it just gets more possible from there as you keep going down. It still feels a little high, obviously. But
Can I throw one out at you, though, that I think does actually make a lot of sense, that I think also fits who they are? Chargers at 12.
Yeah. Oh, God. 100% that would happen.
He wouldn't get past the Chargers at 12.
No, I don't think he would. You put him behind that line, like that's a Harbaugh wet dream. Like that's ridiculous.
All right. Falcons back at it again.
Oh, okay. Hang on, I gotta look something up. Wow. Oh.
All right. Falcons' interior offensive line is struggling a little bit tonight. They're having some issues.
Oh, Bijan, he's going through it tonight. He just had an edge block and got his clock run around. He had to readjust his helmet mid-route because he sealed off the right edge, or chipped, like chip sealed. Hey, chip seal. Woo! I hate that stuff. Anyways, chip sealed off the right edge and got his head turned around. That was rough business. Ooh.
A lot of hospital balls tonight.
Yeah, and that's going to be head and neck area. Defenseless receiver would be my bet.
They might check out Drake, too. He got up a little
they're
woozy
gonna.
there.
Yeah, no, they're gonna. He came in and he got a piece of him. Forceful contact to the head and neck. Yep. Yeah, 52 at the end of the play. Yeah, he's going to go to the tent for that. All right.
I need to see a replay of it, though.
You're squeamish. Don't watch this. Dear.
Oh, it like compressed on him.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh, Kirk trying to sell it at the end. Good for him.
I don't necessarily think that was intentional because Drake kind of, ducked down.
No.
But
I was talking about.
But it does
Cousins.
hurt.
Yeah, I was talking about Cousins trying to get a Emmy or a Tony at the end there.
Are they calling a hold?
Wow! All of a sudden, fresh into the second quarter, and it is time to throw the flags.
Well, refs got to get their airtime too.
Apparently, and that time is now. New Zealand holding.
Jeanty would be like A-Chain and Alec Ingold's body. Yeah, sounds about right.
Getting there, yeah, sure. That seems appropriate. But yeah, he's going to be a fun player to watch.
Look at Matthew Bergeron getting after it, though. Like, he gets up to the second level so quick. I love this guard combo they got.
Yeah, you were a big Bergeron truther
Huge
when he was
Bergeron guy.
coming out in the draft. Yeah, you loved him. Man, this more than I thought it would. This feels like a game being played in space. Now, I wanted, in theory, this game to be played in space, but I did not think we would see as much of it as we have through the first quarter and some here.
I'm just surprised that we're seeing functional offense on a Thursday game. That feels great to me.
True story. Not going to argue at all.
All right, more pistol here from the Falcons. This has been kind of a storyline this year about how much pistol they've run.
Oh, you better get that. Darrell Hodge.
And
Cousins is not quite microwave Cousins yet, but he's getting close.
What I'm interested to see, as we watch the replay here, in terms of their trend for pistol, is what types of looks are they trying to elicit from the defense when they run pistol? Because the point of running pistol is that it kind of masks what you can do, quick tempo passing stuff because you don't have to do a drop back or anything like that. You're just there and ready to go. But when you put the running back directly behind the quarterback, Bijan almost got it. When you put the running back directly behind the quarterback in pistol, it does make it ambiguous that if you are going to run the ball, which direction you're going to run. And so for some teams, that will elicit an automatic, we are playing a hard declared cover 3 pre-snap with 8 guys in the box. Some teams play it like we are playing quarters. We're going to have a balanced coverage here. And I'm curious to see if the Falcons are running pistol just because they feel like they're getting a certain look, or they're getting a common look when they're in their pistol stuff, and then they're dialing up passing concepts to attack those. I have to go back and kind of do some research on that to correlate what is the frequency of coverage in certain downs and distances when they're in their pistol. But that's kind of what it feels like, is when they're in pistol, they're not really running it. They're just doing their drop back pass game, but it almost feels like they're in pistol to force a certain coverage that they can attack. So kind of a research project. I think I just pitched myself while talking here.
You love it when that happens. The shot that Cousins hit to Darrell Hodge is the same route that Pitts ran on the opening drive. Different formation, but same route.
Yeah, that little seam bender.
Yep.
Oh, Cam Johnson might be coming back in the game. That's cool.
That's good news. Ooh. The ageless Levante David.
And see, that's what I'm talking about, where it doesn't look like Kyle has the same juice that he did in college. If you can't separate from a 35-year-old linebacker.
Yeah, careful with that. There's a lot of people that don't get a ton of separation from Levante David.
I'm just saying, if you're supposed to be a generational tight end prospect and you can't separate, as great as Levante David is, a lot older.
I'm going more with the as great as Levante David is part, because he just keeps being that when everybody says, well, he's this and he's that. Oh, okay.
What?
Let's go.
First of all,
okay.
Wildly irresponsible ball. Second of all, that was fucking awesome.
Yep. So we talked in the pregame about establishing relationship between Cousins and trust with Darnell Mooney. Do you remember the point in the offseason series? I believe we were actually up here. We might have done this one in Washington. And I said, all right, hang on. I'm going to bang the table for my guy, Darnell Mooney. I think, again, he didn't have a great relationship with the quarterback in Chicago. I think this is a tremendous spot for him to go to. I really hope basically that he breaks out and becomes a very viable number 2 or 3. And you kind of looked at me like, I don't know. I think you might just be a Chicago homer.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't realize the Justin Fields of it all. This was keeping this at
you
bay.
didn't. And look at that elevation on the goal line. Darnell Mooney, not the biggest guy in the world, playing huge right there, and the Falcons were the beneficiary because, again, as you mentioned, kind of a throw into triple coverage, if we're being honest.
Oh no, not even kind of. Like that was an arrogant throw that worked.
And he just said Mooney's going to pay it off, and he did. So good for my guy Darnell Mooney.
Credit.
Really appreciate him. Yeah,
that's amazing. Old man's got spunk. Also, are you looking at this Pepsi ad with Beyonce, by the way?
No, I'm not at all. Why would you say so?
No, Levi's ad with Beyonce.
You can't even get the spots right. I love it. Distracted much?
Well, here's the thing, and you're going to understand this because you're your age. You remember that Pepsi ad from like the late 90s, early 2000s with, who was that supermodel with the mole? Chat, it's going to have to help me.
Sorry. Cindy
Crawford. That ad looks just like it, except it's Beyonce. Anyway, my point of telling this story is, in that Levi's ad, there's this guy that's like looking at Beyonce, and he's at the washer. Fun fact: that guy is Bob Dylan's grandson. In that commercial. Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep an eye out for that commercial. Chat, I know we took a long and winding road to get there, but that is Bob Dylan's grandson.
A, interesting. B, I'm way more interested in how you know that.
I saw it somewhere and I can't remember where, but that is Bob Dylan's grandson.
Okay, all right.
And no, it wasn't just because I was Googling Beyonce Levi's ad at 1 a.m. That was not the original intention. I think I saw it on like Twitter.
I think I saw the cover for teenagers everywhere now. I think I saw it on that old man site, Twitter.
Look, my friend was just sending me links, Mom. Okay, I didn't open any. Yeah. Mike Lang for $5. Absolutely respect you guys. Love the content. What's both of your thoughts on the Steelers? Justin Fields, should he continue to be the starter? At this point, yes. Like, he has to be. They're checking Drake out still.
Yeah, he got pretty much ear-holed. That was not a fun collision.
Did they take his helmet? I'll have to double check on that. Yes, Justin Fields should continue to be the starter because they've been, I don't want to say like super effective, but they've been effective. And I can't promise you that Russ would be, oh my God. What a return. Let's
Almost.
go. Angry run of the week already. Holy shit.
First game.
I can't tell you that Russ will be more effective than Justin has been because I just don't think Russ has that
guess
anymore.
Who it was?
Who?
For the return for the Bucs.
Who was it?
He was a bootleg gem.
Bootleg gem. Who?
This is Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he's still playing.
Yep.
All right. Go Sean Tucker.
Yep. Go Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker must not die.
Syracuse pride. And Kate Otten. We're going right from Syracuse to Washington here. This is just the EJ pandering portion of the Tampa Bay game plan.
Falcons make a single tackle challenge.
What do you lose if they don't?
A football game, apparently.
A football game, apparently. Anyways, Kate Otten, pride of Tumwater, Washington.
How close to Tumwater? Or close to you?
Really close. It's like 20 miles south of me. It's right outside Olympia. I drove through it on the way home just the other day. I got gas like 2 miles from there because, interestingly enough, fun fact, I did not buy gas in Oregon on the way home.
Why?
So I filled up in the morning in Weed, California, and the next time I needed gas was right near Olympia.
Well, there you go.
So I just cruised through Oregon, no gas needed.
To finish Mike's question, both your thoughts on the Steelers. They look exactly like every other Steelers team that you can remember for the last half decade or so. Basically since like 2018, 2019, like super strong pass rush, great front, at least one or two stud DBs. Inconsistent linebacker play, but it's been enough. Oh, there's
Baker
Mike
got it.
again. All right, we are full
All right.
Big 12 tonight. This is great.
This is a full Big 12 battle. It looks exactly like that. And Baker missed the long shot. We talked about Liam Cohen setting it up. No safety. He overthrew it. He knew it. He came up, clapped his hands, said, that one's on me. And he also, in the back of his head, said, I'm not doing that again. Gets the over ball to Evans in the corner and lays it in perfectly. So as soon as he sees the safeties rotate, he's like, I know where Mike's going, and there's nobody there. Yeah,
Mikael Bolt in chat said he went to Black Lake Elementary in Tumwater.
Oh, there you go.
But no, the Steelers are the exact same as they've always been. Strong defense. They fuck around a little while on offense. They'll run the ball an egregious amount of times for 3.5 yards a carry. And then they'll just wait for TJ or Highsmith to make a play or Cam to make a play. They'll get a turnover. They'll get a short field. They'll cash it in for a touchdown. And they just drag you down into the mud and beat you with experience. Like that, they're the same team. They're like a little bit better on offense because Fields is a better quarterback than like Duck Hodges, but it's still the same style that they've always had. They're just better at it.
Where's my bingo card for Thursday Night Football? I did not have a Duck Hodges reference on my TNF card.
Nobody ever expects the Duck Hodges reference, EJ.
I am sure of it. We need to make up TNF bingo cards. That would be fun.
Well, chat says anytime we bring up the state of Washington, I always ask how close you are to anything. So that should be on the card, apparently.
Sure. Brett asks about Washington geography. If you're going to have a counterpoint, if you're going to have the flip side of that mirror, EJ mentions California high temperatures.
Yeah, anything over 70.
Dude, it was 101 when I was leaving your house. I don't want to hear about anything over 70.
It's a dry heat, EJ. It's nothing.
It's not the heat. It's the stupidity.
It's nothing. Like, I went out to Palm Desert when it was $128. All right, that's hot.
Like I said, it's not the heat. It's the stupidity. That's just dumb.
The ref bump for $5. Why did Tom Moore never get a head coaching job? If I was a franchise in the mid-2000s wanting to develop a quarterback, he probably would have been high on my list.
I'm not so sure he wanted that job.
Yeah, I don't.
Head coaches, you got to run the asylum.
Yeah.
And Tom Moore's bullshit tolerance level is low. That's just the nicest way to say that.
I just think he enjoyed his life.
Yeah, he was very, very good at what he did. Like one of the very best on the planet, and I think didn't want the extra levels of BS that came with being a head coach. He just wasn't super interested for a long time. Fangio wasn't interested, and I think Fangio probably isn't interested now. Like he might take another head coaching job, but
I don't know. He doesn't want it.
He didn't really enjoy it. There was a reason it took a while to get there, and then when he got there, he was like, "Oh yeah, these are the reasons." And I don't really want to change to adapt to be better at these things. I would rather just go back and do my job and not be required to do these things, which I'm obviously less comfortable with.
Did I just see a promo that next week's TNF is Niners Hawks?
I did not see that, but
that's going to be a good one.
Easy enough to figure out if it's true. Yeah, that's not a hard thing to figure out. It is indeed 49ers at Hawks.
Two of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL so far this year going at it on a TNF. Let's go.
Well, it's interesting because, again, we have this weird straddle in our schedule with TNF live streams being on Thursday because we record the preview pod yesterday on a Wednesday and it comes out tomorrow on Friday. So there's all this stuff that comes out in the NFL media cycle today. And I'm like, we said that yesterday, but it doesn't come out till tomorrow. So your friend
Bijan just had his helmet ripped off.
Yeah, Bijan's been going through it physically tonight. He had to one-on-one block Vita Vea. He got his helmet turned around on his head doing a little chip leak action on the side, and then he just got his helmet ripped clean off on the sideline. Not great, Bob. But yes, our buddy Mina Kimes said that she believes Brock Purdy is playing some of the best football of his career right now, and I was like, ha ha! I know somewhere else you're going to hear that particular rant very soon.
Not some of it is the best football of his career so far, in my opinion. Like, he has been incredible.
I don't think it's really debatable. And again, it's what we hoped was going to happen. Again, being on the positive side, this summer in the preview series, we said this is his first full true offseason where he wasn't hurt, didn't have a change. Everything was lined up for him, was not rehabbing anything. And he has taken full advantage of that. And Jack, I am so sorry because apparently Kyle Pitts has come back to life, and you probably could have won your very tight fantasy matchup betting on Kyle Pitts.
Well, the problem was I was talking shit on Kyle Pitts in my patron Q&A today, so I think this one's on me.
Oh, okay. I see how it goes.
Yeah. My fault, everybody. Oh my God, Bijan. Scrapping and clawing for every single yard.
As Zion McCollum just found out, he's like, wow, I thought I had that guy.
Jacobs 893 for $5. Thoughts on Green Bay almost making a comeback? It's really shaken my faith in the Vikings going back to their old ways. 2021 Steelers almost come back. I would just chalk that up to the fact that Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are a very, 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 very good duo. And you know they're going to get the points eventually, whether it's front-loaded or back-loaded or evenly distributed throughout the game. Like, they're going to score. It's the Packers. I wouldn't worry about it.
I would agree with that.
They're fine.
And Pitts had another catch, so boo on you.
If this is the day that Pitts goes for like 7 for 100, I give up.
And a TD. Jack
for the first time in like 3 years.
Yeah, for the first time in like forever as a Falcon. I mean, it's true. He has done it rarely before, but very rarely, which is why we're having this conversation in the first place.
Oh God, he got it off.
He tried.
He got it off.
They didn't whistle that dead because the officials got massacred last year for whistling things dead early. Yeah, I would say that's grounding. I would be agreeing with. I think that's Diaby. Mike Evans doing Mike Evans thing. That's not surprising. Kirk looking like microwave Kirk is truly terrifying. Time to break out the gentleman Jack. That's a super chat from Hendog for $9.99. Yes, microwave Kirk is truly terrifying. We have a guest.
Yes, my little diabetic boy came over because he wants dinner.
Well, hello, little. Good to see you, buddy. Very glad I got to leave before you got your glucose monitor placed because you do not feel thrilled about that.
No, he's not having a good time. I brought his dinner up here. 1 second.
Guys, I am clearly not having a good time. So, call grounding on Cousins here. Not surprising. Cousins, I think 3 years ago, probably dodges this just enough to get free. He didn't clear it, knew that he was going to get sacked anyways, figured he might as well pitch it away and see if, maybe he could just avoid the grounding penalty if it was beneficial, but didn't happen. It was a decent gamble. He knew he was going to get sacked anyways. Not really on him too much about that one.
So this is little special food. Glyco Balance. I have to spend like $80 a week on for both of them because they're both diabetic.
And it's little cans of food, and cats themselves not so little. Little is skinny, but not so little. Certainly not their appetites because little eats more. But just for
it's the only thing they can eat, unfortunately.
Yes.
So
anything they can. All right, we're going to add. So I'm going to run back through some super chats. I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'll get to yours if it's a while back. Ben Enlet for $5. Thoughts on Ryan Grubb's system and how it translated to the NFL? Do you think he has the potential to be a top 5 OC? Top 5 is interesting. I think the system is very good. I think it is adaptable. I've liked his second half adjustments. I've liked the way he's using the Seattle wide receiver core and K-Walk, quite frankly, because a lot of folks looked at all the high-flying stuff he did at UW with the 3 wide receivers and said, he's the new air raid. No, he pounded the rock. Like Ryan Grubb is a straight up football guy. And if you're going to let him run the ball, he is going to run the ball right down your throat until you try and stop him. And then he's going to go straight verts with 3 receivers to punish you. Like he will do either or. He is incredibly flexible that way. So I like Ryan Grubb's system. Top 5. I think give it a year or two and we'll see whether or not he has that real magic of a play caller, because that is half feel, half numbers, half. Yes, I realize that's 3 halves. Knowing the personnel, that's why it's hard. Like being a good play caller in the NFL is combining way too many elements at the same time in real time, and just having a good feel for doing it. We'll see how good his feel is after a year or two. So appreciate the super chat, Ben. Sub-Zero 5X for $1.99. Where does Sanders rank as a QB? He swaps 3 to 4 with me. I don't have rankings yet and won't for a long time.
We're talking about Shedeur, right?
We're talking about Shedeur at this point. We were talking about the draft earlier, so that's when the question probably came in. He's easily going to be top 5 in this class. The question is where he slots in, and that's, again, in relative strength of everybody else's performances. But also keep in mind, this is not nearly as strong a quarterback class as last year's class. Brett and I were just talking about this when I was down in Southern California. It was one of our many side conversations that we have around football. And generally, it's shaping up to be a bunch of also-rans, bunch of second-round grade type guys who you hope could work out.
It's a bunch of future backups for the most part.
Yeah,
honestly.
it feels like there may be a starter sprinkled in there, but he's kind of hidden in the haystack right now, if that's the case. So Shedeur's, rank among them has somewhat to do with how he finishes. His traits are pretty well established. It's really more about how he plays within certain games against certain systems, against top competition that he has remaining on the schedule. And that'll influence the grade a little bit, but a lot of the grades on Shedeur are already set. Not mine necessarily, but a lot of folks already have him slotted where they think he's going to go. Dane B for $5.
Oof.
Oh, we got another. Oh, it's Tyke.
Ah, man.
I don't like that. That's not great. By the way, the shoestring tackle in the backfield where Bijan almost got away.
Yeah.
You know who got him?
Was it Tyke?
No. It well could have been. Obviously, pre-injury. That's not great. Looks like an ankle, maybe.
Yeah, they were working on that.
All right, he's going to walk it off, but I'm not going to watch this because my ankle hurts enough already. No, it was Logan Hall. It was Logan Hall.
Logan Hall sighting in 2024.
Logan Hall was
all right.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a bad ankle.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it. Dane B for $5. Throwback to when Vic Fangio wished Teddy Bridgewater a happy birthday and ignored Drew Locks even though they're on the same day.
Is that not the most Vic Fangio thing you've ever heard?
It's close. I think just flat out ignoring both of them would have been the most Vic Fangio thing, but that makes it somehow funnier. Oh boy. Yeah, being a head coach is certainly not for everybody. Nice little swing pass to Algier. Works for your Bijan agenda. keeps yards out of his stat sheet.
I need Levante to get tackles, man.
Yeah, I guess.
I need him to get 3 more assists. And
we are not even into the second half yet. And you didn't bet like first half assist, did you? Because that would
no, I'm not that degen.
That's pretty bad. And the last super chat I came across way back was Joel Garcia's about Jeanty would be A-Chain and Alec Ingold's body. So I think we might be caught up. If we missed yours, go ahead and throw it back in without any more money. Let us know we missed it, and we will answer it. We're trying to keep up on it tonight. But yeah, here we are tied at 17. The Big 12 battle presaging seems to be coming true.
Well,
who can still kick? Yeah, I guess
got
all
it.
the bad ones out of his system because that was a pretty good shot. Seems like he's back on track. I think all Falcons fans hope so.
he still pulled it left, but you could see he just compensated where, like, you know, when a golfer just has a slice and they can't get rid of it. So they just like, I'm going to just turn my body like 10 degrees.
I'm going to turn my hips and start it out 45 degrees left, and it's going to fade right back into the fairway. Yeah, no, I've never done that. No, Yes, I have many times.
Did they put a zip line inside the stadium? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
looking at?
the mascot does this like bungee jump. It's like zip line, bungee jump combined because it goes across and then it goes down.
Huh.
So they have the mascot do it pregame every game. But is that
I think they had Kaylee
that
Hartong do
Kaylee?
it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Props to her. That's impressive. Nicely done. She's kind of
That's cool though.
Maybe I'm good. Yeah, super sweet.
340 feet. Yois.
Yeah. Hell, yois. How are you with heights, Coleman? We've never discussed that.
You know, it's interesting. Like when I'm on roller coasters, if for those of you Southern Californians that are familiar with Knott's Berry Farm, what's the one that has like a shit ton of, is it Silver Bullet? I think the one at Knott's that is like a bunch of different loops and corkscrews and everything like that. I'm totally good on that. Even though I get motion sickness in the car, I don't get motion sickness on roller coasters. Like if it loops, corkscrews, totally fine. When you're on Ghost Rider, the one with that's just a big old wooden coaster that is a big drop, I will throw up. It's just something about heights or like that stomach drop feeling. Like corkscrews, loops, fine. Big drops, can't do it.
So basically you're fine with positive G's, but negative G's, not your thing.
Yeah, I'm not born to be a fighter pilot, unfortunately.
There you go. Okay. I love Mayfield just sitting in his locker staring at a Mike Tyson walkout. There's something so perfect about that.
Man's got a routine.
Yeah. All right.
Got to get you on the steel curtain in Kennywood. Is that a big ass roller coaster?
I'm guessing so.
Up.
Uh-oh. Oh, they didn't
Oh,
tackle.
my God. See, all you have to do is just give Rachaad White the ball 400 times, and eventually he's going to break it.
I feel like he's Beetlejuice. If we say his name 3 times, he's going to break a 40-yarder right through the middle of the defense, and nobody's going to tackle him. He's going to be a ghost. This is unreal. This is a defensive breakdown that is going to not be – oh, wow.
That's why you don't box GT counter. Oh,
there's a lot going on there that is not great.
That's why when you fit counter, you wrong shoulder it. You go inside of the pullers to try to gum it up. If you try to box it from the outside, it helps make a seam.
No. And they followed up with that. Oh, my God.
Well, we talked about the Falcons' run defense being a little bit vulnerable, and they have been, unfortunately, very vulnerable on this drive.
That is a little bit more than a little bit. That's ugliness. That is not going to be a fun film room for the Falcons when they get around to it. In fact, they might just say, burn the tape. We're not going back to it because but guess who's in near the goal line?
Bucky Irving. While Rachaad gets oxygen on the sideline.
Yeah. And Bucky goes head to head and tries to run guys over.
It just got folded.
Oh, yeah. Jesse Bates just hit him full steam.
Good God. This is a fun game. I'm having a good time.
I am enjoying this. Chat, I hope you're enjoying this one as well. Always nice to get a good, balanced, even matchup. Even if we're bemoaning some of the technical aspects or breakdowns, I'm with you. It's a fun game. This is a fun football game. Not hard to get through.
Also, chat, just so you know, the whiteboard will be returning, but it's going to be returning next week. I finally just got my office put back together, and I haven't figured out how to do a multicam setup yet where I can queue up a specific whiteboard camera. I'm still working on how to get that done, but that will be done by next week. So whiteboard is coming. little by little, we're getting ourselves back in the swing of things. Again, I don't recommend, if you're a football content creator, moving in week 1 because it takes a while to get going in the season, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. I do not love Bucky's lack of vision and lack of patience on that last run. And I realized down to the goal line, patience can be a double-edged sword. He just sort of plowed that in, put his head down.
I'm okay with it because I need this Rashad White touchdown.
Oh!
So
Didn't get it. Clark Phillips.
Sorry, I heard my cat getting into mischief. I just want to make sure it wasn't too much.
Oh, yeah.
I will have to give him insulin at some point, but I at least want to see how the rest of this first half goes.
Boy.
And then I'll shoot him up with the good stuff.
Then I'll shoot him up with the good stuff. I didn't realize until just a few shots ago that these red helmets have a little bit of gold on the top stripe.
Do they?
Yeah. They got black and white down the center and a little bit of gold highlight, a little pinstriping on the outside there.
Nice
Interesting
touch.
look. I'm not sure I love the gold, but the red helmets are very, very solid. So, all right. Sub-05X for $4.99. 2 other questions. Thoughts on Will Campbell and thoughts on South Carolina freshman stud Dylan Stewart. He has the right mix between Vaughn and Miles. So we're already into college draft questions. We did that to ourselves. I fully understand that.
This
Will
is also
Campbell,
the time of year where people realize their teams are out of it, and so they start looking at the draft.
quickly pivoting to draft content. Will Campbell, a very capable tackle, LSU, and South Carolina freshman Dylan Stewart. We'll be talking about him plenty. It'll be a couple of years. He's not going to be eligible for at least 2 more years. But yeah, holy cow. In terms of physical freak, and that's what you want as an edge rusher. Yeah, he's got all those pieces.
He looks like what Deion Jordan was supposed to be.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I would say that's fair, except just like supercharged version of that.
And I already think he looks better. Like, you remember when Kayvon was a true freshman and everybody was like, oh my God, he's him, right?
Yeah, I remember. I showed you pictures of him and it was like, hey, look at this. And you were like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, that kid's a freshman. You were like, what?
Stewart is way better.
Yeah,
way better.
He's made more impact at a similar time in his career, that's for sure. All right, Noah Khan for $4.99. If there was a player where you could have gotten rid of, which player and injury would you choose? I'll start with RG3 and his ACL. Yes, RG3 with a healthy leg would have provided a lot more good football. It is a classic question. If you could remove injury from one player's career, there's so many.
The classic answer is Bo Jackson.
Bo and his hip for sure. Bo, I believe, one of the greatest athletes of all time. Just a physical marvel. I got to see him play both sports live, which is fun. Oh man, there's just so many super dynamic athletes that we haven't gotten to see a lot of what they could do because they're prime, and many of them, especially the more modern you get, the less there is, because there were things. Here we go. Shootout continues.
Baker's used to those. Again, he's an Oklahoma quarterback under Lincoln Riley.
He was raised in these. Modern medical science has gotten so much better that they now repair stuff and guys go back to playing for stuff that was career ending before. So you go back to like Gale Sayers in the 60s. Like, Gale probably would have continued playing and been much healthier in later life if he had modern medical science back in the 60s, for his knee injuries. So guys like that, we lost more of their, potential output than we do of modern players. But there's just, I don't know. And I mean, the more recent one, it's always happened, but in terms of recognition, is concussions, right? We see guys walk away early in their career because they're like, I don't, it's the the risk is not worth it to me anymore. And some of those players would have been super duper fun. That is an unreal throw. This is Clark Phillips again. He made the tackle. It's a switch. Oh, they dragged him outside. That's a fun. I love this concept from Cohen on the goal line. Because he is making a very small window and Baker hit.
He knows what kind of game this is. He's like, all right, we're in it. We're in it.
And Liam is calling stuff like Liam's on a heater too here. He's calling stuff knowing where Baker is tonight and saying, I can scheme open a 6-inch wide window. You think you can hit it on the goal line? Baker's like, yeah, I sure can.
I'll be honest. And it's not just because, again, I was raised in an OU family. My dad's been rooting for OU since the 60s.
Sure.
And it's not just because of, like him getting did dirty by the Browns, but just seeing the growth of Baker Mayfield as a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
How can you not root for him? Like, Bucs fan or not, how can you not root for him? To see the growth, the development. This is somebody who, had his shoulder shredded and he tried to play through it for his guys, and then he got abandoned by the Browns. And legitimately, he was not as good as this when he was in Cleveland. So on some level, I understand They thought they had to get an upgrade. But to see him come back and to get this good and to develop this much and become legitimately, like, you cannot deny he's playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I love everything about this storyline. I root so hard for him. He's been through a lot. He's been through so much in his NFL career. And it's not often that we get to see this kind of growth and development and success for somebody who was basically counted out. Like, he was written off as a bust, and now he's back and he's playing great. And like, I don't know, this feels sustainable. This feels real. This feels like he's going to be a Bucs quarterback for a long time, because we've now seen enough games of this where I don't think this is a fluke. I just think this is what Baker is now.
Yeah, I would agree with you on all counts, and it is awesome to see, because before, you root for the flashes and whether or not you like the brash personality, planting the flag and all the stuff he did earlier in his career, but it wasn't always backed up by super solid quarterback play. So it depends on where you came from or how you enjoy your football to say whether or not you were a Baker fan before, right? Did you like the bravado? Did you like the flash and the occasional and the highs and lows, the roller coaster, or did you come from a side saying, I would like the guy if he was a lot more consistent because he has so much talent, right? Now all those people can like him because he's still brash, he still has all the personality, and we've seen it tonight. He's making a ton of the little plays that you need to make as a quarterback to really string things together. So it's the sort of culmination of all the things coming together, and we don't see that very often for NFL players. But there is another shorter quarterback who got his shoulder shredded early in his career and had a lot of people give up on him, and then came back and had an incredible career.
Yeah.
Drew Brees.
Good call.
And
good pull.
Many people forget that, because that's why the Chargers were like, forget it. And why, quite frankly, the Dolphins didn't sign him, right? They were like, we're not sure the shoulder's going to heal right. Well, Saints took a gamble, got lucky, and got everything they got with Drew Brees, which is amazing. Hall of Famer, they get there. And what are we seeing? Like, the Falcons coming right back. Drake's back in the game, fighting for first downs. Bijan's catching things on the sideline.
Defense optional, baby.
Kirk's firing. Like, he's like, no, man, we got a minute. We got a minute. We're going to get it. Wow.
Oh, man, that was on Levante, too. Like, running over Levante is not easy.
We forget. Bijan's a force. He hasn't always been that way. They certainly didn't use him that way last year. But, there's another little outside chip from Bijan. He went a little more careful into that one. I think he might have learned his lesson on the one from earlier. And shout out to Ray McLeod. Like, very functional NFL player, and that is not backhanded praise. Like, he has carved himself out a very nice career.
And he's been doing it for a while too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is not new. Great play by London. Gets out of bounds, keeps forward momentum so the clock does stop.
By the way, chat, this is how I monitor. I have a little app that monitors the glucose, so that's when I know I'm supposed to give him insulin or not. To give you a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to take care of not one diabetic cat, but two.
Ooh.
Also, people asked that they didn't know that cats got diabetes, and how is that possible? Apparently, apparently the cat food that you buy at PetSmart is garbage. That's how that happens. Little did we know. So, in the future, we're not going to be feeding them dry food like that, because this happens.
Drake, that ball got in on him. Oh, that's why it came right through the defender's hands. I didn't see that on the last shot. Cousins threw that right through.
Yeah, he got away with one.
Yep. And both of these quarterbacks are prone to do that. That's not a shot at Kirk. Like we saw Baker do it earlier, and the Falcons dropped it. So, is that Logan Hall again? Sure is.
It is. He's having a night.
Another big play for Logan Hall. Impressive. Oh, Yaya shaking up a little bit, but he's walking it off. He's been dinged up a little bit this year.
Yeah, he's been playing through it basically since August because he got his first one during camp.
Oh, wow. It's just power and length.
And McGarry's also playing banged up, so he's not at 100%.
No, he gave.
It's week 5. Everybody's hurt at this point, but it's tough to pass block when you can't move right. And as Chicago fans, we know that with Darnell Wright, who's also playing hurt.
Riley Black for $5. Ask anyone who was around at the time; they'll say Greg Cook and his shoulder.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And there were a lot of key injuries, like a lot of shoulder injuries for quarterbacks back in the day, a lot of knee injuries for running backs that weren't reparable. Couldn't fix them at the time, or couldn't fix them in a way that they could perform at their top athletic prowess. So they were just done. And that happened, in all sports. It happened in baseball before there was Tommy John, right? Guy blew his elbow up as a pitcher. Like, he was just done. His elbow was just sawdust for the rest of his life. He could go sell insurance, but he couldn't throw baseball anymore. And now we see guys go on 15, 20 years more in their career because they got Tommy John, sometimes with increased velocity, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, the Tommy John surgery is it's basically seen as like an upgrade by a lot of guys, especially like young pitchers, because they know they're going to have to get it eventually. They're like 17 years old throwing 90-mile-an-hour gas, and they're like, oh, wait till I get the TJ. I'm going to hit 95, 96. And it's like, it's not supposed to be a good thing, guys.
Yeah, it is crazy, though. And there are even guys on record who've had it multiple times and have gained velocity each time. They gained like 3 miles an hour the first time. They gained like a mile or 2 an hour the next time. You're like, what? You gained like 7 miles an hour getting your elbow worked on twice? That's crazy.
It's fucking Rubicon surgery. Yeah. Sorry, that's for like 4 people in the chat. I don't think anybody's going to understand that. But for all 4 of you, I got you.
I got you.
Fade NXC2 for $5. When are the refs going to call illegal motion on players moving forward when the ball snaps? Is that still a rule? I've seen it so much this year. There has been a lot of guys get away with it on like that jet motion or zoom motion or whatever you want to call it, where they in Miami and San Francisco kind of started this a couple years ago, but where you kind of use the jet motion, then you release as the ball is snapped as like an arc, almost into like a fast wheel route that gets you down the boundary. And you see guys turn their shoulders early and kind of turn upfield, like I'm talking half a tick early, which makes it look like it's one of those illegal CFL motions. And for whatever reason, they're just not calling it. Like, they have to get better at calling it, because it's legitimately an unfair advantage right? You are getting a running start on a go route down the boundary, and you're supposed to not turn up the field until, but I don't know. They just don't call it.
They don't. But there's a lot of things that NFL reps don't call. We could go down the list. Defensive holding wasn't called hardly ever. And defensive holding was a huge part of running stunts, effectively. Like, if you can just kind of grab that offensive lineman's jersey and just tug him a little bit so he can't step into the hole, and there's just a much wider place for the guy looping around you to charge in and destroy the quarterback. And offensive linemen complain bitterly about it for a long time. You call holding on us all the time like he's literally holding me out of the gap I'm trying to get to. Nobody's going to believe you, right?
All right,
But,
I'm gonna go grab a vial of insulin really quick and then stab my cat while he's still here, and then I'll be right back. It's like 30 seconds.
No, you're all good. And yes, I did help with the process while I was in Southern California. I got to comfort Little while he got his shots, made it a little bit easier. Obviously, he's not super fond of them, but they are necessary, and it's not terrible. Brett's gotten really good at it. So, update from Jay crossover for $4.99 sent Garrett Wilson and a late one for 1.01 and 3 welcome home Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty. May have missed it, but what are your guys' early comps for him? I don't have a comp for him. I try and stay away from comps, especially early on in draft season. But I did mention earlier on the broadcast that Dane Brugler, one of our favorites, draft analysts for The Athletic, who actually just got re-upped for The Athletic, I think through like 2028. So congratulations to Dane, one of the best in the business. He was on with Robert Mays earlier, and the two names that popped out of his mouth, which is super surprising because Dane is not prone to hyperbole. He usually tries to tamp down expectations, knowing that, these are all young players and the range of outcomes is really wide. So he tries to do the opposite. And he said he was reminded of Barry Sanders and LaDainian Tomlinson. So if that's, any indication, and he does have a lot of qualities of both of those guys. I'm not saying he's going to be those guys, but you can certainly be reminded of either of those guys watching Jeanty run. So feels like a pretty good trade from where you're sitting. So that's deeply appreciated. Refs about illegal motion. Q Johnson for $1.99. Back for the first stream of the season. Woohoo! Thoughts on Mizzou? I've heard less about Mizzou, and I actually have Mizzou fans in my life. I thought I was going to be hearing a lot more about Mizzou. At this point of the season, they've been a little bit quieter than I thought they might. That's not saying they don't have a good team or anything else. I just thought that the buzz would be louder by now, if that made any sense. Miles for $2. Does the athleticism of a QB help RBs? Good question. It can, is my very best answer. A lot of times we'll talk about speed and we'll say, hey, speed is a very nice quality to have as an offensive player or a defender. But if you don't know what you're doing with it, it'll take you to the wrong place faster. So you can have more motion in your run game if you have a more athletic QB, if you're faster. You can, scheme in handoff points that are wider that don't have to be pitches. So it gives you some flexibility. It also, as we're seeing, Baltimore probably is the preeminent example this season. If you've got Lamar and Derrick Henry, you've got defenses in a box of pain. Like they don't have a right answer. You can make them have the wrong answer every time, because if you're using a quarterback as a +1 as a runner, and again, a runner with the skills of Lamar Jackson, you can make the defense wrong almost any time on a given run play. So it absolutely can. It doesn't automatically. We've seen lots of very athletic quarterbacks where they didn't harness those gifts particularly well, and it didn't really help. In some ways, it probably hurt, but it certainly can if it's used correctly. So Samuel Dumman for $1.99. As a Panthers fan, should I be terrified of the Bears game this week? Yes, you should. Like, they should get beat. We'll see. They might not. Andy Dalton might have a sterling performance in there left. But walking into it on paper, yes, you should be quaking. This does not look like a good matchup for the Panthers, and their defensive attrition certainly doesn't help anything. The Bears defense is playing very, very well, better than most people outside of Chicago, and some people inside Chicago are even acknowledging. The matchup does not line up well for Carolina right now. Just does not.
We have returned. He got his shots.
Tory Taylor hype. All right. I'm glad that you've returned. I'm glad they have the shots. Got a lot of questions about Tory Taylor this week, so I'll just take a second and address it. There are two things in the Tory Taylor situation. One is process and one is the player. The player is very good. Tory Taylor, the punter, is very good. He is a very good football player. The process is poor. And it's kind of like trick plays. We were talking about trick plays earlier. And if trick plays work, everybody loves them. And if they don't work, everybody hates on them. And process is kind of the same thing in the draft. Everybody killed Ryan Poles' predecessor, Ryan Pace, for poor process because he had it. He often bundled picks to trade up because he was so certain about, quote unquote, his guys. A lot of those guys bombed out, and then you didn't have any lower picks to fill the roster, and that caught up with him over time. And he ended up having a roster that was in a very bad place because he practiced bad process in the draft over and over again. And he got pilloried for it, and he got run out of a job. Ryan Poles practiced bad process getting Tory Taylor. He got a good player. Tory Taylor, this had nothing to do with Tory. Tory didn't hold his hand up and say, take me early and try and trade up to get me, which Poles did try and do, and Ian Cunningham talked him out of it. It's a bad process. The result is a good player who looks like he is on track to be a very good punter. And that's a nice asset to have. But everybody was in my mention saying, oh, well, you still want to kill the pick, blah, blah, blah. You're counting on a punter to win the game, and sometimes you do need to do that. It's not what you should be thinking of first. Certainly not what you should be thinking of with a fourth-round pick. And if you look at everybody in the punter standings around Tory Taylor, they are, without fail, sixth-round picks or later. A couple of them are sixth-round picks. One of them is a seventh-round pick, and most of them are UDFAs. So all the top punters in the league were available for much, much less. Yes, you might have gotten a great punter. You probably did. Looks like you did. He certainly kicked the lights out of it in the game last week to seal it. That was a pressure situation. He seems like he's got the right wiring. I mean, he's Australian. He's like, yeah, I hope that, I make Ryan Poles look like a genius. I hope that 10 years from now, everybody says, oh, it was of value. They should have paid more for him. That's a great attitude to have. If you're a football team, you are not hoping to rely on your punter to win games regularly. Is it going to happen occasionally? Sure. Is it nice when it does? Absolutely. Is it bad process? Yeah, it still is in terms of value. Tory Taylor, great player, bad process. Don't love the process, like the player a lot. So it's two different things, player and process.
Just to add on to this, so everybody knows that my number one punter in this class was Ryan Rakow. It's not Tory Taylor. And he went undrafted, and guess who leads the NFL in punter EPA? Ryan Rakow. If he had one more punt, he would be eligible for, all-time career averages in terms of net, which right now he would be leading it if his sample size was higher. I think he has 19 points. He needs 20. But if we're just going off a lot of metrics, Ryan Rakow has been the most effective punter in the NFL this year. And he was a UDFA, and he's also a rookie. So... yeah, I'm kind of on, I think Tory Taylor's very good, but the Bengals got a pretty good punter too, and they didn't spend any assets on it. So, I don't know.
No, Tory Taylor's great, and a lot of people think I hate Tory Taylor, and I don't, or that I hate Iowa, or that I hate punters. I don't hate any of those things. I think Tory Taylor would be an ideal guy.
Daniels hates punters. Let's be clear.
Well, truly, just based on his actions, like let's be clear. But I think Tory Taylor would be a great guy to have on the pod and have a beer with. Like, come on, a almost 28-year-old Australian guy probably knows his way around a beer. Like, let's go. That would be fun. We could talk football. I think it would be awesome. So nothing against Tory Taylor, nothing against punters, nothing against Iowa. Definitely something against spending a fourth-round pick and trying to move up to spend a higher one on a punter. Yeah, I don't dig that. And I'm not really going to because of Ryan Rakow and all of his colleagues who are UDFA's 6th or 7th round picks who are in the top half of the punting standings in the NFL. So there you go.
People are asking for the Malort shot. I will give you the Malort shot, but I have a very needy cat on my lap right now.
You know what we should do, since you are anchored and I need a new beverage, we should do our favorite segment of the week.
Yes. Where are you watching
chat.
from?
Now's the time. Where are you watching from? Fill up the chat with where you are consuming this TNF stream from. Our chance every week to see where all of you are enjoying the content from. One of my favorite times of the entire week. I love to see the sort of depth and breadth across the globe. It's awesome. So hit it. Shippensburg, PA. Woohoo!
I'd rather have Little
Clemson
do the Malort
University.
shot. Yeah, I'm sure.
Nashville, Endor. Man, get out of there. Empire's coming.
We got Brazil.
Redlands University. There we go.
Oh, my godchildren. I have a godson and a goddaughter, and they both live out in Yucaipa, out by you.
Well, there we go.
A lot of Australians.
I knew saying good things about Australians was faded and correct, and now I know why. Alaska still tuning in. Lexington, Ireland.
My brother lived in Colorado Springs for 10 years. It's a fun town. He went to school there.
Wantagh, New York? No way.
Is that near Candor?
It's not super near Candor, no. Wellington, New Zealand. There you go. Middle East, a little island called Bahrain. No kidding. Chihuahua, Mexico. Flying to Vienna, Alex. Nice. He's watching on the plane. That's classic. Las Cruces,
your Wi-Fi is good enough.
There you go. See, they have things like very cool trains in Europe and neat Wi-Fi. Jacksonville, Long Island, University of Alabama, Waxahachie, Texas. Iowa City. Oh, tropical Iowa City. Rochester. Happy garbage plate, Kel. Hamburg, Germany. Very nice. Jackson
Broken Arrow,
State.
Oklahoma. Great movie.
Great.
It is a great movie. Broken Arrow. It's awesome.
Broken Arrow's a great movie, but it's not about Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
You can't disprove that.
I can, actually. I've seen it.
Savannah just got power and internet back yesterday. Wow, you guys were out of it for a while.
Yeah, I am glad to hear that. To everybody that was affected by the storm, certainly been checking in with people across the Southeast that I know, and lots of people were obviously heavily affected, had their lives changed. Thinking about y'all.
Terre Haute, Indiana. Castle Rock, Colorado.
Oh, Terre Haute. Yep, Terre Haute, Indiana. Castle Rock, Colorado.
Unicorn Town, Germany. Is that a place? Is that a real thing?
3 a.m. UK gang. It's nice.
Germany, I wouldn't be surprised.
County Mayo. Nice. Family from County Mayo. That's awesome.
That's like directly in the center of Ireland, right? If I recall correctly.
St. Petersburg, Russia. All right. Billings, Montana. Asheville. Yeah, thoughts up for Asheville. They got pounded. Vancouver, Washington. Just drove through Vancouver on Tuesday afternoon. Fallon. Yep, I know Fallon.
Do you count Vancouver, Washington as just Portland?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who live in Vancouver, commute across the bridge because they don't want to pay personal income tax. They don't want to live in Oregon.
Well, it's the best of both worlds, right? You don't pay one tax on the other side of the border, and you don't pay the other tax on the other side of the border.
And there are many Portlanders that try and get Washington registrations for their cars. Doesn't always work out for them, but yes, it's separated by a bridge. Is it Portland? Portland suburb? Yeah, sure.
It's like, what is it? Louisville, or no? Is it Cincinnati, the one that's on the Kentucky border? I think so.
Yeah.
It's like you're Kentucky. Like, let's be real.
Well, the airport straddles the line. I've told you this story.
Yeah, it's like half in each state.
Yeah. So we were taking a connecting flight, and it was morning, and like a couple of 20-something-year-old degenerates, me and a guy from my hometown, were waiting for this flight. So we go to the bar because time does not apply to airport bars. And we order a shot and a beer. And the waitress comes and she puts down the shot in front of us, and she has the 2 beers on the platter, and she just stands there on the tray. She just stands there. We're like, my buddy's like, put them down. She says, I can't. And he looks at her and he says, what? She goes, we're in Kentucky, 1 drink on the table at a time. He's like, you telling me I've got to take this shot before you're going to put my beer on the table? She's like, yes, sir. And so we're both like, dink, whack. Okay, can we have our beer now? This is the weirdest.
And back in the day, okay, couldn't have 2 drinks on the table, could buy a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah, well, you know.
Make it make sense.
Who's counting? Who's counting? Port Charlotte, Florida. Covington is up in northern Kentucky. There we go. Get out of Brett's walls. I was here first. Oh. All right, we're back.
Oh, we might have a turnover. We might have a fumble here.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of a scrum. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, refresh the beverage, be right back for more of this Big 12 matchup on Thursday night.
And for chat, I promise I will do my Malort shot, but I have a cat on me, and I will wait for him to elegantly remove himself from me, and then I will go get the Malort. But he always gets very sad after he gets his shot, so he wants cuddle time. So I'm letting him have cuddle time, okay? That ball looked out to me. That might be a fumble. I don't think his knee was down yet. Okay. They called him down, though. Whatever. And we got a flag. I think a hold here. So we're going to have like 2nd and 20. How about them Mets? Did the Mets win? The Mets didn't choke? What is this? Brett saying cuddle time is getting clipped and memed immediately. Also, that's kind of a weak holding call to me. He let go as soon as he started peeling off, but whatever. Brewers and Mets had a choke off. Oh, man. Rashad White, turf monster, got him. That's the thing with him, is you're going to get like that 160-yard run, and then every other touch he gets is going to just get nothing. It's frustrating. All right, well, not a lot of calls in the book for 3rd and 20, so my guess is throw it over the middle, try to get some yak, and just set up a punt. Can't imagine they're going to be taking a deep shot here. Oh my God, they sold. Oh my God. He was running out of bounds, dude. Oh, they sold so hard. Dude, oh, flag for a late hit or a hit going out of bounds. Like, I get it, he was inbounds, but he was kind of straddling the line. And just when he's going out, it's 3rd and 20. Just let him go out. What are we doing? That's just a boneheaded play. Can't do it. Can't do it. Unbelievable. Oh, they picked it up? What? They threw it and then picked it up? That's odd. They never picked those up. I still stand by the fact, though, you shouldn't even give him an excuse to throw it in the first place. It's still a dumb play. Still shouldn't do it. If Mahomes is in, it never gets picked up. Yeah, probably.
True story.
You didn't miss a whole
Different
lot.
rules. Yeah, well, that's good. That's perfect timing then.
Yeah, basically it was Rachaad White getting tackled by air, and then a 3rd and 20 Baker scramble, and then they threw a flag for a late hit out of bounds and picked it up. The main highlight was Rachaad White getting tackled by literally nothing. The ghost of Helen Keller got him. Like I don't know how he went down.
We need to weld together Rachaad White and Bucky Irving and just have one running back.
Or keeping it with the theme of the night, Jeanty, come on down.
Yeah, no, that would be really, really fun. So Levante David, disappointing so far. Rachaad White, you're getting well, you already got yours because you had the token.
I bitched out on that. But I still might have done the right thing because I'm still not convinced he's going to get 10 carries. I think they might just give Bucky a bunch of touches from now on because Bucky doesn't get tackled by air. Darnell hit. Baker is on pace, but maybe. We'll see. And then Bijan.
43.5. Yeah.
Like, I'm on pace for Bijan, but I don't feel good about it. Like, I don't.
You're on pace for Bijan?
Yeah, because I took lower than 91.5. He has 29.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I still don't feel good about it.
I'm so conditioned by you taking overs, and rightfully so, that when you're on pace, you're not even close. Oh, lower. Oh, good. Yeah, you're on pace. Neat.
I feel like he's going to get like a screen in the fourth quarter that goes for 30 and just
75.
ruin me.
You're going to be like, God. Oh, man. Hardboiled gargoyle way back super chat. Let's see if I can find it. I thought I saw it. I thought we might have even answered it, but apparently not.
Did you do the one from DJ Sanders about Rashee Rice?
I did not.
So DJ Sanders for $5. Hey guys, love the show. Do you know what Rice for the Chiefs status is? So what we know right now is that he had a lot of swelling, and so they couldn't get good imaging on it. Ooh, almost a pick there. And so they're waiting for a couple days for the swelling to go down so they can actually get a real image on it to determine the scope of the damage, because they still don't know if he tore his ACL or not. The fact that there's been that much swelling tells me like he might have, he probably, because like you don't normally get that much swelling without an ACL tear or a tear of something, right? But right now they don't know. They don't know. It's still too swollen. So I think by like Monday or Tuesday we should know. But they put him on IR because they think no matter what he's going to be out for 4 weeks anyway.
Oh, how did he complete that ball?
Love the awareness from Drake to just turn around.
Yeah. Boy, did he need to, because Cousins was in a world of hurt when he let this ball go. This is an improbable connection. Watch this. He's getting thumped off his line.
He didn't even get to step into it.
Nope. He gets bumped. Watch him. Dunk.
But yeah, to answer your question, he is on IR because I think whatever his injury is, it's going to knock him out at least a month. What they don't know is if it's season ending or not yet. So we'll see.
All right. And Gargoyle, you're probably going to have to redo the super chat because when I called for everybody to type in where they're from, it filled it up enough. I can't go back far enough to see it. I do remember seeing it. Again, don't attach any more money to it. Just throw it in and we will get it answered for you.
Ben Hermes for $5. Jaden Daniels should have told Tress Way that he wasn't going to punt a lot. Would have been true. Yeah, it's true.
Tress Way, former Bears legend.
That's right. He was a Bear. Forgot about that.
That's right. He was a Bear, so you could have done it that way, but no, you gave up on him and you. Anyways, yeah, we could do this all night.
Ooh, pretty
That's
vicious
Levante. That's
cut
not
black.
good for you. That's Levante. That's not good for you.
I don't think it was serious. I think it might have just been like, ow, like he dead legged me, or Charlie horsed me.
Hyperextended my knee a little bit. Don't feel great. We're like, I don't think it's that serious. It's just a 250-pound guy like hyperextending my knee. It's not a big deal. You and I'd be limping around for like 5 weeks.
It's Lindstrom adds 60 pounds to that.
Even worse.
Patty for $5. With retro jerseys being all the rage across the NFL, when will Houston get the Oilers back, and why is it going to be after Amy Adams dies or sells? They're never getting the Oilers back. They're the only thing Houston will ever do is just use colors that are similar to it as like a fuck you to the Titans, but they won't be able to use like the actual official Oilers retros. The league will never let them do that, because that would give precedent for a bunch of shit involving Baltimore, Cleveland, and Indianapolis.
And the Cardinals. Don't forget the Cardinals.
We almost picked that off. And the Cardinals.
Yep.
Well, the Cardinals moved twice, right?
Yes. They were
Chicago and Cardinals. Dallas, I think.
No, Chicago, St. Louis, and then Arizona. Because like Dan Dierdorf was a St. Louis Cardinal.
Who started out as the Dallas Texans?
Was
that not the same franchise?
No, I don't think so.
I'll have to look that up.
No, I in fact I'm almost sure it's not. Dallas Texans was AFL. Cardinals were NFL.
Oh, Chiefs. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, I know Dallas had a team before the
KC was Dallas. Chiefs,
Yeah.
Chiefs. There you go.
Oh man. Kirk.
Cousin is waiting so late in the down. He is begging to get absolutely grenaded.
But he's been fearless tonight. Like, the pressure's just been relentless, and he's just standing in there and throwing darts.
He's waiting until the absolute last second, and I could not be happier that Darnell Mooney's having a night. Look at that. He's off platform. He's literally leaning and just heaves that thing, and it's right on the money.
And I love that he's just leading him to space, right? He's not throwing it to where the route is on paper. He's like, hey, here's grass. Go meet the ball at that grass. It's awesome.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to change up space in the pocket, and I think a lot of people would not think of Kirk Cousins as a guy with a ton of athleticism to do that. He doesn't have a ton of athleticism, but he is finding ways to bend his body, not lean into throws and still complete them. He doesn't necessarily have all the no-look stuff and the crazy drop arm angle that a lot of other guys do. He definitely doesn't have the feet of, Kyler or somebody like that. But he's finding ways within himself to get it done, and that is a really important quality in a quarterback.
Kyle Pitts legacy night.
Yeah, this is an impressive display by Cousins all the way around, like complete quarterbacking. Toughness, accuracy has really come on as the game has continued. He had some errant throws in the beginning. I think Cousins typically a guy that's very hard on himself mentally. I think he sort of self-scouted and said, hey, man, you got to be better. And he has been better under worse circumstances. The circumstances have gotten worse and the results have gotten better. And that is just a big-time NFL quarterbacking performance by Kirk.
Also, Zach Robinson's calling himself a nice game, too. And
yes, he is.
Again, we've consistently seen the pistol show up tonight. And they've done almost everything except run out of it. But they've run a whole bunch of different concepts. They've had, a pretty ample screen game out of it. They've worked the seams. They've run like standard kind of West Coast quick game shit out of it, but pistol has been a mainstay for the passing game, not the running game, and I really can't wait to go back and study that and just see like what did they see on tape that's making them lean so much into this year, because they're the only team that does it this much. Nobody else runs pistol this much, like other than maybe the Ravens, but that's more for run game purposes than anything else. Nobody runs the pass game out of the pistol this much.
Jaden Norris salvaged a super chat for us. I did see this one. Icelandic Fart Police says, Miss Super Chat, I asked what your favorite trick plays were. Wide receiver, halfback passes, eligible linemen, statue plays.
Anything that involves throwing to an offensive lineman, I'm all for it. Those are always my favorite. Thick sixes are the best.
Fumble Rooski was one of my favorites when it's executed really well. Great play. There are so many, and it's fun to see coaches go back and kind of drag them forward into the future. Play you haven't seen, and somebody will put a modern wrinkle on it that's based on, something that was done in the 60s or the 70s.
I don't know if you
Andy, we've seen Andy Reid do it. That's been super fun. So
I don't know if you count the old like fake screen left, fake screen right, tight end pretends to fall down and then gets up and is wide open in the middle. Like the Chiefs have run that a couple times. I don't know if you count that as a trick play, but that is always amazing whenever somebody busts it out.
Yep. And Kirk takes a sack there. He's been flirting with them all night.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Oh, man. And that was the most genteel sack I think we're going to see maybe all season. It's like, how can I put this guy on the ground without getting a flag? I'll just kind of like gently lay him down right here. Yes, he is sacked. Oh, and he almost got it all back.
Darnell Mooney,
McCollum,
he is so close to having like a $150 tonight.
I agree. And Zion's a big reason he doesn't have a chunk of it. Zion McCollum's been playing very, very well this year.
When did Mooney become wide receiver 1?
Always has been. Yeah, not quite. No, as soon as he established a really good relationship with Kirk, and I think he probably worked very, very hard to do that coming to a new team. Kirk also coming to a new team, so it wasn't like trying to get in with a guy that was already established. It's like, hey, you're new here. I'm new here. We need to make this work together so that the offense works. And they obviously did that work in the offseason because they were, farther along, I think, than any other pairing on this offense. And Mooney's going to have some of those. And he knows it.
Oh, look, a Kyle Pitts breakout after I drop him.
Yep.
Should have known, man. As soon as I started talking shit, like you knew it was coming.
Yeah. Yep.
Janto for $2. Thoughts on the Seahawks defense after the Lions loss? They were missing like their entire defensive line. I don't hold it against them, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, they're missing, I think it was 4 starters on D-line, if I recall correctly. Like at least 4 key players on their defensive line. Nobody is ever going to stop anybody, let alone Detroit, when you have your entire depth gutted. So again, when we see the rematch in January when everybody's healthy, God willing everybody's healthy, then we can judge it. For now, I don't hold it against them. Eric Celiac for $2. Thoughts about the Colts and AR's progress? I mean, it is kind of unfortunate to see him get dinged up again. That's always been the worry with him, is just durability. But when he's been on the field, and this is something that we've always talked about, the highs are so incredibly high, the lows are so incredibly low. We're willing to trade some of those highs to just have less lows, and just kind of working towards that middle valley of consistency and efficiency that, Josh Allen eventually had to work through, although Josh hasn't really lost that many highs, but he definitely cut out a lot of the lows. That's what we're hoping for from Anthony Richardson. Now, keep in mind, he has a lot less starts than Allen did, when Allen was going into the NFL. And, of course, because of injury, middle of year 2, he's got a lot less starts than Allen did in the middle of his year 2. So he's very inexperienced relative to Allen. So maybe it'll take a little bit longer to kind of work that stuff out because he still hasn't played that many games. But that should be goal number 1 with the franchise is if you need to trade some of the wow moments just to manufacture completions and just get a rhythm going and get consistency going, so be it. Because it's just that lack of consistency is killing them right now.
Yeah, and the disparity between the highs and the lows is so far. I mean, if you're looking at this game, he could take a page out of the Baker manual that we talked about. Baker's highs were not as high early in his career as AR's, but his lows weren't as low. He didn't go as far as often. They both had highs and lows, but Baker's were here and here, and AR's are here and here. So if you're looking at a development path that AR, if he was idealizing a player to say, hey, how has this player improved over the course of his career, even though they're wildly different players physically, and I would say even from a mental and an approach standpoint, their approach to the game is quite different. But if you're looking at that sort of overall like honing of your game and bringing the lows up and managing the highs or keeping the highs, like I think Baker would be a very good role model in terms of AR to sort of put up there on the board and say, how did he move from very erratic play early in his career to where he is now, and understanding how to move a team down the field, which he's doing right now.
Until Godwin fumbled. Okay, Mike got it back.
But I think Mike got it back.
Yeah.
Good bounce for the Bucs, if you're a Bucs fan. So he's going to need to do that because the super low lows and the inconsistency, the big stretches of inconsistency are only going to be tolerated for so long, no matter what the highs are. People will give up on you if you can't do basic stuff. And I think AR has been farther away from doing basic stuff on the regular this year than I thought he was going to be. I thought with, again, a full offseason with Steichen, he would come in and be farther along on some of that stuff. And in, again, early returns, we're only a quarter of the way through the season, he's been farther away from the base than I thought. He's been below the base. Let's put it that way.
So I guess what EJ is really trying to say is 2029 Buccaneers quarterback legend Anthony Richardson.
It could be if they can keep finding coaches that can work with very talented players and understand how to develop the worst parts out of their game. Yeah, I would love to see it. In fact, I would love to see it right now. And I don't think that Shane Steichen can't, but AR is not like you got to have folks buy in. And it was the same with Josh, right? You'd see Josh just go, I'm going to do bad stuff. And he would do it. And everybody would be like, Josh, you're doing so well. Why did you do the bad stuff? And it took years, right? It took like 3 years.
What happens if I put my hand on the stove? What
That's
happens if I
right.
do it again?
I'm very strong. I can put my hand on the stove. Yeah, you can, but only so many times before it's really, really painful. And the faster that AR sort of figures that out, I think the sooner we'll get to see a closer to fully realized quarterback. Oh, Baker, let's go.
He can still move, man.
All the things I said about Kirk Cousins and not having athleticism to manage the pocket, yeah, scratch that. Baker's got all that stuff. He can absolutely just scoot.
He's always been such an underrated athlete in terms of not just short area quickness, but like contact balance. Like he's always been a much better runner than people give him credit for.
Yeah, very wily on his feet.
He's got kind of like Steve Young type mobility to me.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Now they call the late hit. Okay.
Well, sure. I mean, if you're going to hit him twice out of bounds, you're probably going to get flagged on the second one.
Didn't learn from the first time apparently. Oh my God.
That's like the don't talk shit to a tuba player. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
The Texas State one, guy just sitting there, jaw. Tuba player just leans over. Hop. Takes like 4 shots at him until he finally connects. Like, yeah, don't mess with the tuba player. So there's the first one. Wow. It was a good, solid one when he's standing on the white. Can't have it.
That one I think is a little bit more understandable than the first one, just because to him it looked like Godwin was trying to stop before the boundary. So like I kind of understand that one. I didn't understand the first one.
You gotta be aware. Like, anyways, rookie mistake. J.D. Bertrand, linebacker out of Notre Dame. He didn't quite catch where the white was, or he did and he didn't care. One of the two. He'll figure it out. It's not egregious. It's not like he launched from 3 yards away and hit him in the face mask or something, but it's going to cost your team either way.
It's a interesting stat. They said that Atlanta had no pressures in the first half, which is yikes.
For a team that traded for Matthew Judon, that's
And I will say this, like they use next gen stats for charting pressures here, which I think is not
limited.
Yeah, it's limited. It's not the best way to do it because they use chip data and like proximity of chips and players' pads. It doesn't really tell you if there was pressure or not affecting the quarterback. For me, I go off PFF pressure numbers because they actually chart them. But even on PFF, if you're looking at pressure rates, the Falcons are way down there in terms of like team pressure. Like they're just not a good pass rush. So I kind of believe it.
Oof.
In
okay.
fact,
Bertrand got his legal hit on and Kate on.
I posted these last night. So the 10 worst pressure rates in the NFL. Cardinals are number 32, obviously. Panthers are number 31. Titans are ranked 30th. Raiders are 29th. And the Falcons are 28th in the NFL in pressure rate. Just barely better than the Bengals, who, outside of Trey, can't get anything. So, Jared Verse was right there. That's all I'll say. Jared Verse was right there.
He was right there. All right, Baker, low red zone. Let's see what happens.
Well, there's one.
Not good. And he got folded, and he got his knee tweaked.
Oh, I hope that's not too bad.
No, he's
walking it off,
out.
but I always get worried about those.
Yeah, no, he does not love it. Bump a BB for $1.99. Thoughts on the Rasheed injury? Weird situation. Yeah, we addressed it a little bit earlier. There's a lot of swelling. They're not sure. They don't have good imaging. It's serious. That not necessarily sure if it's season ending, but it's serious.
I can't tell if that was ankle or knee.
It was compression on the lower leg in a way that it just didn't want to move, which is no good. Got to give a shout out to Grady Jarrett. Haven't said his name yet tonight. Absolutely one of my all-time favorite Falcons. Whenever he makes plays like that, I am super happy to be wearing this T-shirt. Love me some Grady Jarrett. Brett will tell you I was not aware of who he was related to in terms of other great Falcons, and we found that out a couple of years ago, and I was like, yep, I should have known that. So Grady Jarrett's dad is the great Falcons linebacker Jesse Tuggle, also known as the Hammer, one of the great nicknames ever. And makes perfect sense because they play very similarly. Although they don't play the same position, they definitely attack offenses with reckless abandon. And Jesse Tuggle, one of those players that was incredible at his position for a long, long time and never achieved team success. He wasn't on great teams. Falcons were not good during his tenure. Never got the sort of feel-good ring story at the end of his career or whatever else, but always really appreciated the way Jesse Tuggle played. And you can see it in Grady for sure.
Hip drop tackle ? They continue to not call the new penalty. I don't know if that qualifies as a hip drop. Like the one on Baker, that is. I'd have to see a replay of it. It didn't.
That one kind of twisted around. It didn't, but I have seen straight up by definition, by rule definition of hip drop tackles that have not been called. So
like the one on Mixon that they fined him for it, but didn't actually call it in the game. So it's like,
yeah,
why is it even a rule if we're not calling
Yeah,
it?
exactly. If you're going to go out of your way to legislate it and, define it and say it's going to be a point of emphasis and say we're doing it for player safety and all this stuff, and then you see them very clearly in the game and people are like, swallow the whistle. You're like, what do we go to all that for? So,
It almost feels like the refs are like, please don't put another judgment call on us. We're just going to throw up our hands and say no. Like, if you guys want to fine it later, you fine it later.
Right. We're gonna leave that up to you with tape review, but in the moment, we are not gonna call that.
Damn, Jimmy Carter's 100.
Yeah, just
How about
turned
that?
100 yesterday. Yeah, Jimmy Carter has done a great lot of good for this world. So, congratulations on reaching 100, Mr. Carter.
Built a lot of
President,
homes.
I should say. Yeah, by hand, with his own hands. Yeah, impressive human being.
Lancia Stratos for $5. As a Bills fan, how worried should I be of the Texans game? You should mainly be worried about, speaking of Joe Mixon. That is a secondary. I think I forgot to say this little note when we recorded the episode because we're previewing this game, and that comes out tomorrow. So last year, when they had Poyer and Hyde, the Bills secondary had the fewest missed tackles in the entire NFL at 53. Through 4 games, this young Bills secondary with DeMar Hamlin and Cole Bishop and, I think Rapp got injured. But when Hamlin and Bishop are out there and Bedford and all these guys, I think Teron Johnson's also hurt. They are now halfway to their season-long total of missed tackles after 4 weeks from 2023.
Yep.
So they are missing a lot. And you saw that in the Ravens game. Like, they just could not get Derrick Henry on the ground. And I kind of feel like they're going to struggle with Joe Mixon, too.
So we had this massive outbreak of points in the first half, and since then, not
a whole
so much. Bunch of second half adjustments. Yeah, see, that doesn't really look like a hip drop. It looks like a very unfortunate, like I swung around a fire pole and ended up sacking a quarterback.
Yeah, at least by definition of a hip drop. I'm not sure if that's the...
Yeah.
Less scary Terry for $5. If Washington's still cooking some trade deadline and looking to actually compete, which corners on struggling teams would you target? Horn, Ramsey, etc. If they have the money, I could see them maybe looking at Jalen Ramsey. Horn... See, Horn's cheap because Horn hasn't got paid. But then they would have to pay him.
Yeah, basically Carolina's can use this very unfortunate situation they have on defense to do a little bit of showcasing. The aforementioned Ray McLeod deep downfield. All right. Falcons might supercharge our points totals here. But in terms of Horn, they are still going to get decent one-on-one reps, even though the rest of the defense is in a shambles, to see whether or not Horn is a guy that they want to pay long-term, whether or not they have, quote-unquote, have a guy on the outside or not. And they might be willing to trade him. Again, I'm not going to say what that front office is going to do because it just transitioned.
I got one.
And we don't know it. Yeah, go ahead.
Martin Emerson.
Oh, great move by Bijan.
Shit. See, I told you who's going to do it to me. I didn't feel good about that.
Yeah, but you're still good, buddy.
Nah,
that
whole
was
quarter
like
to go.
Something yards.
Whole quarter to go. I don't feel good about it.
But that was like, well, you didn't feel good about it at the start, so that's not new.
Martin Emerson is the one I would throw out there because the Browns are not in a good cap situation, and I don't think they're going to have the money to really pay Emerson what you get on the open market, but they could get a pick back.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't trade Martin Emerson for the world, though.
But
I was a huge Martin Emerson guy.
People would rather have Emerson than Denzel Ward, I think, all things being equal.
Well, and he would cost less because of the name recognition, maybe. But yeah, I'm sorry, if I'm Andrew Berry, I'm not trading Martin Emerson. I'm finding a way to pay him. I picked him, and he's a very good player. So, but you're right. They are going to be up against it money-wise because of other poor decisions, and you're going to have to pick something, and they've already paid Ward a very healthy amount. Boy, I would move not all of heaven and earth, but a lot to keep Emerson because, man, I loved him as a player. He's a value. and he's been every bit the player you wanted him to be.
You could look at like Darius Williams if the Rams go downhill.
He just started back at practice, so we're going to see him back on the field pretty quickly.
There's not a whole lot. There's not that many other contracts I think I want. Like that.
Yeah,
really...
corner is tough. It's like offensive tackle. Like really good outside corners are not available. If they're really good, they're not available. Like if they're available, they're not really good. So you're either going to have to pay up pretty significantly, whether that's giving them a new contract when you sign them or trading draft capital for them. Again, like you said, to recoup a pick. Washington could certainly use outside corner help. It is a position that is difficult to find reinforcements for without what I would say kind of massive overpays or even massive overpays for goods that are not what they used to be. Let's put it that way.
Eli Harrell for $2. As a Fins fan, should I accept the season is done? Yeah. Because Tua is, I still am not sure if and when Tua is coming back. Jalen's out. The offensive line isn't great. You're going to fall so far behind in the AFC, like you're not going to make the playoffs anyway.
The only thing I'm hoping for the Dolphins is a Dolphins redemption arc starring Tyler Huntley, which I'm just, as you know, fully here for. I think that would be so fun. I'm not going to bet on it.
It's like, man, I'll let you put the money on that one.
No, I'm not going to bet on it. But if it happens, I'll be celebrating because I'm a Tyler Huntley fan, and there's a lot of talent on that team. And look, this is the reality of the NFL. Like the starting quarterback market is very thin, and if your starter goes down, your quality of play is going to go down almost across the board. Like there just is, Atlanta might be one situation where Penix might be really, really good. And if Cousins gets dinged up, maybe the level of play doesn't dip very much. But just about every other team in the league, you're going to have a significant drop-off from starter to backup. That's just the fact. And in Miami's case, I'd say that drop-off is one of the largest. The difference between a healthy and dialed-in Tua and a Skylar Thompson is pretty massive. Like, you're asking this question because of that, right?
I will say,
is all the other talent sort of invalidated, and you're like, it kind of is.
Tyler Huntley got a shot on Monday.
Yeah.
Against a very, very bad pass rush. Remember, we just said the Titans were bottom 3 in pass rush or pressure rate. And he threw for 96 yards. So I just feel like no matter what.
He just got there, though.
I know. I just feel like
McDaniel's system is not super simple. You know this from coming from the Shanahan tree. Like, it very, very directly. Worked with Kyle for, 17 years? 15 years?
I know. I'm saying...
You give somebody 3 weeks and expect them to just digest all that. Like,
Malik Willis.
I don't think so.
Malik Willis did it with the Packers, and everybody was saying Malik Willis is not going to be an NFL
feels like
quarterback.
He's kind of zigged off that path. Like he's definitely from the tree, but he obviously was very flexible. I would say more flexible than Mike. I'd say you put Tyler in the same position that you put Malik in. I bet your results would have been similar. I'm not willing to say like way better or way worse, but I bet they would have been very similar because I'm putting that squarely on much more of the credit for that on LaFleur than I am for Malik, because Malik was there for a very short period of time. And he even said, like, he made this work for me.
Something I'm monitoring throughout this season, and it really depends on how much the Dolphins actually lose. Well, I'll say it after this red zone position. How about that?
Sure.
Oh, look, a run out of pistol. And they lost yards.
Yeah. And a nice stick in the backfield.
If things go... Brett's cam dead? It's on OBS.
I'm still seeing it. Oh, wait. I don't have that one. People probably don't understand how this setup works. No, it's still on YouTube. Nope. Still on YouTube, buddy. I'm still seeing it on the live YouTube feed, so I think you're fine.
We're good?
Yeah, I'm literally looking at the YouTube feed right now, and you're still there. and Little's walking off all pissed off.
Oh yeah, I threw him off my lap. Well,
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, no.
what the fuck, Dad?
See, when I did that in the summer series, you would have thought that the ASPCA was going to haul me away in cuffs. Be nice to the kiddies. I was like, you have no idea. I am nice to the kiddies. Woohoo!
Darnell Mooney touchdown.
All right.
Mooney legacy game. Little gone Malort time. Fine, I'll go get it. God. They wasted
You
no
are
time.
getting absolutely no quarter. None. Not that you deserve any, because you, of all people, knowingly entered a Malort league. But gotta say, extremely thrilled for my guy Darnell Mooney. He was one of my pre-draft favorites. I thought he had a good chance to come in and be a contributing, basically over-the-top receiver, but I thought he had a slightly wider skill set coming out of Tulane. Loved the fact that he got picked up by the Bears. Obviously started off pretty hot there and then tailed off pretty significantly, and really hoped that this move to Atlanta would facilitate exactly this, a fresh start, ability to showcase the fact that he has a wide range of abilities as a wide receiver. We saw his toughness earlier, his ability to go up and compete on the goal line, obviously speed, route running, hands. Look, he's always going to drop some. He's just that guy. He had one bounce off his chest earlier. I've seen several other balls this season that should have been caught by him and just aren't. You're always just going to have to deal with that. He is by far not the only top flight wide receiver that has had that issue. But you're getting so much, and for what you're paying for him in this wide receiver market, it is a tremendous value. Couldn't be happier for money.
Just to prove, it is Malort.
Yeah,
it is in this class.
Gross.
I didn't get a
you know
shot
what's going to
glass on
prove
the
that it's
normal one.
You know what is going to prove that it's Malort?
With the face.
Yep. Your face after you drink it. 100%. Can't fake that, man. No way. Oh yeah, he's
gotta cleanse the palate
with water. Yeah. Do you? You might as well use gasoline to cleanse the palate.
It's got a nice oaky afterbirth. Well, I think it actually is afterbirth. Fuck, why did I sign up for this league?
I don't know. Why do you keep losing?
Oh, God.
What did you lose, by the way? There are 2 shots each week, correct?
I don't. Hockey could have just lied to me for all I know. He just said that I came in last this week.
Oh, and what? So one is coming in last, and what's the other one? Biggest loss?
So it's biggest loss and also, least amount of points.
Yeah, so
and
that's
also
last.
Biggest margin of loss.
Biggest margin of loss. Okay.
And if you
so
get both, then you do 2.
Ooh. Sorry. My stomach's just dealing with the idea of 2 shots of Malort. Like, I don't actually know that I've ever done 2 in close proximity. I've done 1 several times, enough to know that, I don't need any more of that ever. I'm completely fine with it.
Let me look up if the Bears are doing a TNF game this year.
I don't really care if they are. That doesn't mean I'm drinking Malort.
It means I am.
Sorry,
the last one. The day after Christmas. Merry Christmas to me, EJ. I want to get myself a bottle of Malort as a gift because, again, every time the Bears score, we're doing it. Hey,
really?
Man, they're playing the Seahawks. I'm just hoping they don't score. That's the one time I want to root for like a blowout.
You better hope that Mike Mack is on a heater, because if Caleb's on a heater, you're going to die.
Fingers crossed.
I guess, buddy. Oh, man. That's, no, not good. Do not like. So,
Sean
if you've
from
never
the
had
Go.
Malort, it is roughly, I describe the ode to Malort as a mix of like souls and gasoline. It's terrible.
There goes Baker.
Baker! Sure, I'll take the free 20 yards you're going to give me. I'll just jog on out there. No problem. Good for him. That's smart quarterbacking. No
Best
hit.
quarterback in the league is Baker Mayfield. Second best quarterback in the league is Baker Mayfield on one leg. That's what I've always said.
I'm sure you have, being an Oklahoma fan. Oh man, this is a great rebuy. He's just the Red Sea parts, and he's like, "Wow, there's nobody here. I will
Also,
take my
technically, my
3-0."
father is the Oklahoma fan. I have a
Yeah,
soft spot for
inherited
Oklahoma.
it.
Fight on, baby. I'm a USC homer. Oh, Brett, don't forget to finish your Dolphins take. My Dolphins take is that I don't think Mike McDaniel's job is as safe as everybody thinks it is. That's my Dolphins take.
Oh, here we go. I don't know if you'll love this or hate this, because this definitely could be one of those sort of partitioning takes. So let's just say you're correct, and Mike McDaniel's job in Dolphins land is not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say he gets fired. Mike McDaniel, OC, Chicago.
Yeah. No. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I will start the GoFundMe if old lady McCaskey won't do it. I'll fucking do it. Hey, Mike McDaniel offense brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Like, I will do it.
Oh man, you know who would be so happy?
The entire city of Chicago.
Well, right. Besides, the third largest metropolitan area in the United States, Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, because he's like the quintessential.
He's not super happy right now. They've just kind of forgotten about him, which is a bummer because he is a very explosive player and he does have a role in offense. He would eat in McDaniel's offense. Like, yeah, he
100%.
would be ideal in that fit. So,
yeah, no, you spend your entire draft just taking offensive linemen. You hire Mike McDaniel. Again, this is if McDaniel. I'm not saying he will get fired. I'm just saying there's a scenario where the job is not as safe as people think. And that scenario is they end up with like a top 3 pick and Tua retires. Because I don't think, from the outside looking in, I don't necessarily think Ross is okay with getting talked into doing the Tua deal when he didn't want to do the Tua deal. That's why the Tua deal took so long. It wasn't a Greer and McDaniel thing. It was a Ross thing. And then if that ends up blowing up in their face, who do you think is going to pay the price for that one?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to eat monetarily. Yeah, which is the least of anybody's worries, certainly, too. Oh, my goodness.
Got out of it.
Yeah, but wow, did Rachaad White just get worked? Oh, goodness. Oh, look, it's a Rook sighting.
You'd have to pry McDaniel away from the Eagles head coaching deal. I think there's a couple teams that would be lining up to get him as a head coach.
Yeah. All right, watch Rachaad. Here he comes. Ugh.
Yikes.
Blur. Blur. Yeah. That did not go well for him. All right, tie ball game. 10.5 to go, fourth quarter.
Something tells me that missed Falcons kick might come back to bite him in the ass.
Oh, you think? An NFC South matchup where a missed kick doesn't come back to bite somebody in the ass? I don't know about that.
As a Green Bay fan, don't let Mike McDaniel go to Chicago. I think if Mike McDaniel is very expensive, which he probably will be, I don't think you have to worry about it. I really don't. I think, is there a cheap option, like a Gary Kubiak's other son that's dirt cheap?
Other?
They'll go with that.
Or maybe like godson or like, I don't know, like nephew or something.
Somebody was in the same room as him one time,
Mm-hmm. Kid that parked his car once at the club.
Sean from the Go for $5. As a Bears fan, it's painful and funny that Nagy got more out of Fields and Mooney than Getsy ever did. Painful and funny, yes. Surprising, no. Not surprising at all. Getsy is not.
Yeah, if we're talking about correlation and not necessarily causation, because they are not the same thing, Devontae Adams, like dropping the hammer and saying, "No, I prefer not to be here." And by that, I mean, get me the hell out of here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who's his OC?
Mm-hmm. It's
Like,
not that surprising.
he
It is
was
not that
still a
surprising.
team guy last year. He was
It's a
still like, "No, we're gonna work it out." Like, I love AP, and I'm committed. I want to be a Raider, and he deals with 4 games, literally 4 games
and it's not like the
of
Raiders are bad.
rejection.
Like they're 2-2. Like they're
Yeah,
in the playoff race. And
no,
he's like,
he
I
deals with
can't do it.
yeah,
Get
he's
me
with
out of here.
4 games of Luke Getzey, and he's like, "Get me the hell out of this town." The town where I like bought and built myself like a super cool house, not the one that has the Taco Bell in it, but regardless, super cool house. I had plans. I will I will leave my plans. I'll keep the house, but I will rent. I would like to be somewhere else.
JJ for $5. If Justin reaches his potential in Pittsburgh and Chicago kills Caleb, what does that do to Chicago mentally? Is it just thank Christ we have Connor Bedard? Yeah.
Chicago's got a lot of great young sports talent. WNBA, Red Stars, Blackhawks, Cubs and White Sox. We'll leave them out of this discussion for lack of the Bulls. Have some fun young talent. Again, they're in a bit of a shift. Obviously, Caleb, like the city is chock full of young sports talent. It's going to be hard, not impossible, to ruin Caleb. You know, is it possible? Of course, it's possible.
It's just unlikely.
Every player can be a bust, but Caleb is about as bust-proof mentally and physically as a prospect could be. We said so when he was coming out in the draft. Comparably, X to the Y could have been whatever. It's a little bit different because he was 1-1. He was the number 1 pick overall. It's not, well, oh, if you could have had Caleb. Well, no, they could have had anybody they wanted. They chose Caleb.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Is that Bijan? Okay.
Yeah.
Shorter gain. So I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. B, if it does happen, he is the next in a long line of folks that have not worked out. And at some point, the organization, and I do mean the entire organization from the top down, ownership included, is going to have to say, we've been doing what we've been doing and we've been getting what we've been getting. And we're going to have to change that functionally. Now, they tried by bringing in Kevin Warren as president, moving some family members out of the organization. And, is that a half measure? Maybe. I don't know. It's only been a year and a half since Kevin Warren arrived. We'll see if it brings functional change. But they're going to have to say, look, we keep doing this. We keep having high picks, quarterbacks. We keep absolutely busting them out. We don't get any better on offense. We keep having pretty good defense. We keep having interesting special teams. We keep being basically, for lack of a better term, the Bears. And we want to change what that is functionally. We need to do something very, very different. And until they do that, they're going to keep getting what they're getting.
There was a super chat that unfortunately got swiped away from me, so I didn't see who asked it, but it was, what is the biggest what if story in the NFL?
Oh.
What if Ryan Grigson was not the Colts GM when they drafted Andrew Luck? That's the biggest what if story.
You just had to drive daggers through my heart tonight, didn't you?
I think they would have won at least one Super Bowl.
Oh, at least.
I think
at least.
I think they would have been still competing with KC right now.
Yeah, I honestly think that, sports and the legal system are better left apart. Grigson might be the exception.
Prison,
like
under the jail.
I would just charge him with negligence, whether it's professional negligence or negligent homicide for somebody he got killed multiple times. Like maybe it was the Coldstreams that he killed. Like he doesn't necessarily have to go to prison, but I want it on his record that like It's criminal negligence. Like what you did was so bad that it should be recorded in some official capacity.
Where is he right now? See, he's the
Oh
vice
God,
president
don't.
of player personnel for the Vikings. Stay there.
I don't love that. Like
Stay in Canada.
state Canada.
It's close enough.
Oh man.
But
Yeah,
yeah, he ruined like an all-time
yeah,
situation.
it is terrible.
Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is
what
down,
it?
by the way. That was who got injured.
I don't love that either. Like
If Sherman doesn't make the play against Kaepernick, Crabtree catches it, Niners roll over Broncos in the Super Bowl.
I don't say it's the biggest, but that's not implausible either.
You could argue that Seahawks Niners game basically was the Super Bowl that year. If we're just talking about two best teams, you could argue that.
Ooh. Steve Bossignore for $10. Tuning in late this week. What's y'all's opinion on Baker versus Darnold and Mooney versus Shaheed? I feel like these are four guys that are not talked about. So who's
Just
better?
the Spider-Man meme. They're both really good.
It's funny. You're going to have a great conversation. You had a great conversation in the Monday recap pod about Darnold and Baker literally in the same breath, along with Geno and a little bit of Derek Carr sprinkled in. So if you haven't checked that one out, it's called The Situation. It's on YouTube. It's the most recent video we released. There's a really good conversation in there about the quarterbacks. But in terms of like Mooney versus Shaheed, like before tonight, I think everybody would have said Shaheed with a bullet. I would have been one guy over in the corner with my sword, like looking at the cavalry charge going, I don't know, maybe Mooney. Like maybe. I still think I'd love Shaheed and brought him up in our summer preview podcast as well. They're both really good is the answer. I think Shaheed is further along with his team right now, but Mooney's making a statement tonight that he can be a significant portion of this offense, that he can score points, that he can create first downs. He just created a DPI. He can be a significant part of this team going forward. And I think they frankly need him to be that. They have, Drake London and a host of, Ray Cloud and, Kaderil Hodge and, the occasional show up game for Kyle Pitts, but they need a very consistent number 2 wide receiver. And Mooney is fully stepping into that light and saying, hey, I've got a relationship with Kirk Cousins and you can leverage it to get some yards, score some points, move this offense in the right direction. And that is a very positive development for Zach Robinson and the Falcons. So maybe more of a push after tonight. Certainly would have been, I think, Shaheed as the leader in the clubhouse before tonight. Darnold is, again, Baker had his glow up a year and a half ago. Darnold is fully in the spotlight right now. Again, leading the NFL with 11 touchdown passes, which is 3 more than the next closest person. I would say Darnold right now because, man, if you've seen some of the throws, but Baker's been doing it for longer. So it's like, do you want consistency or do you want high highs? Because Darnold's high highs right now are leading the league by a bunch.
I would say if you're making an MVP ballot that's 5 names long, both Darnold and Baker are on that ballot, and that says a lot. Ooh, we got a hold on the Falcons, I think. Darnold has had more just impressive wow bombs down the field, but if we're just talking about down in, down out consistency, making really tough throws into tight windows over the middle. I would say making plays with his legs as well. Not just tonight, but every single week he's made some plays with his legs. I would say Baker's been probably the more consistent one, while Darnold's been the quote-unquote splashier one and just made some like ridiculous, crazy throws. You can't really go wrong with either one, though. Like, they're both top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the craziest thing. It's if we'd been having this conversation like 3 years ago and we've been saying, no, Baker and Darnold are both like top 10, possibly top 5 quarterbacks. People would have looked at you like you had horns growing out of your head.
All right,
and they would have been right for the time.
I need 2 more Levante David tackles. Like, just come
Well,
on
I'm
now.
glad that, him getting his knee bent sideways at a ridiculous angle didn't affect him at all. It's so the amount that people put up with physically in the NFL to play in the NFL at a high level is week in, week out is ridiculous. Kirk just making space. Kyle Pitts making people miss.
Just
Let's
where was
go.
this Kyle Pitts for the last 2 years? That's what I want to know.
Where was he since he's been drafted? Because it's in there, and I'm with you. He doesn't have necessarily the same amount of pop that he had coming out, but that is a more than functional high level tight end in the NFL right there with what he just showed on that play. His current level of play is far above, again, the results that he's been able to make while in Atlanta. And it really is an indictment of Arthur Smith and coaching staffs before that they couldn't get more. Oh, no.
Okay, I'll say this. Rashid Shaheed at least catches the ball.
No, better. Like, and again, people, and see, surrender Cobra right there. Like, people are going to be doing this because you're going to have to live with that with Darnell Mooney. But that's been the case, again, with other wide receivers. But this is the third time tonight he's done it. So I'm going to say it's a high level of drop, but this is a concentration drop. Like, I'm sorry, this is purely a concentration drop. Like, it's just, yeah. There's no good explaining it away. He is going to do it. Like, he did it in Chicago, too. He also displayed great hands. So you see, again, it's kind of like the AR conversation we had earlier with Anthony Richardson,
It's
right?
blocked.
Uh-oh. Kuz night, not so good. I mean, officially 0 for the 2, but it's really 0 for the 3. Mooney's in his own head right now. He's going to have to spend some time with the jugs machine because he's dropped 3 balls tonight by my count. So
The Falcons special teams
like,
giveth, and the Falcons special teams taketh away. They only won last week because of it. They might lose this week because of it.
You think the 2 kicks, the 6 points that they haven't gotten because of missed field goals, going to come back?
When you can't stop
probably.
Biker, it will.
Honestly, NFC South, this game is always a challenge. You need to play mistake-free football. I feel bad for the Falcons because they have played some very good football tonight. They have played stretches of excellent football, and it might not be enough. Like, they might come up just short because the Bucs have also played very good football and made less mistakes.
I feel like I need to put together a reel of Bijan pass pro reps because every single time he's in pass pro, it's just
a detonation.
It's a car crash, dude.
Yep.
Like he's so gifted as a runner, as a receiver, but you see how he gets after it in pass pro, and you're like, God damn.
There was one, it was either last week or the week before, and I'll try and find it. Absolute detonation. Like, he's got a free rusher coming in. It's his guy, and he shoulder blocks him into infinity. Like, he puts that guy into the nether realm. It is an absolute explosion. It's like, okay, Bijan, like taking pass pro for serious. I'm
gonna put together a highlight reel because like it's a snuff film.
I will find you
4 weeks into the season.
Yeah, I will find you that rep because it's probably the one you're going to finish on. You know how NFL films always used to finish on the best play? Like, yeah, that's the one you'll use last in your Bijan snuff film pass.
Want to see a dead body?
Yeah, here's one. Bijan made you one, custom order. I just got to say how happy I am for DK Metcalf. He was just on the promo for next week. Like, that guy is out of prison. He is out of football prison. He's out of football jail. Yeah, Darnell, you know you need to make those plays, and you will. Like, it's not that he doesn't have the ability, but he is prone to these lapses, and they come in bunches. It's happened tonight. Like, four 4 solidly that I could say, should have caught that. All right. There's Grady saying hi.
The 8th ring of hell is just Shane Waldron.
Can be. I don't think it is necessarily. I honestly, it's between him and Getsy. It's not great. Yeah. So he just lets that ball get into his body, and he doesn't need to.
Just uncharacteristic mistakes from characteristic mistakes from the Falcons.
I mean, I would say more a higher rate than is typical. Like you don't see Mooney drop half his targets in a game almost ever. He's done almost that tonight, not quite. So
Bijan's one flaw is his helmet doesn't fit well. It's like the Moneyball
his helmet
scene.
does come off. His helmet does come off.
His only defect. Yeah. His head is extremely small. Will the Bears ever have a competent OC?
I hope so. It'd be fun to see. Because it's not like they don't have the talent.
I think Bucs might just try to finish this game with the ball.
If they can, certainly. Like, let's not turn it back over to an offense that has been explosive for large portions of tonight. Like, let's just close this out with ball control and, take, again, a very good, if it happens, win on the road in our division in a game that people basically called a push, and rightfully so. We're staring at it right now. It's a 3-point game coming down into the final minutes. And this would be a huge win on, presumably the Bucs march to try and repeat as division champs.
And I think I'll double check on the standings. Hold on. But I'm pretty sure they'd be 2 games up if they win this. Yeah, so they're 3-1. Falcons are 2-2. Yeah, so they would be 2 up on the Falcons, and then it would depend on if the Saints can beat the Chiefs to determine if they have a 1-game or 2-game buffer. So that's big game.
Yeah, and you're going to want to finish it. Oh, all right then.
The most work Bucky Irving has ever done for 4 yards.
Not true at all. Did you watch his Oregon tape?
That's true.
There's a lot of those on there. Like, wow, he ran like 17 and a half yards horizontally. He got 1.5 yards, and it was a good 1.5 yards to get. Couple of super chats floating by. Want to catch them before we get the end of the game. Dane Roberts for $20. First time this season I can catch your stream. Thanks, Dane. We appreciate it. Busy few weeks of work that you guys helped me get through. Appreciate that, too. Thank you guys for the quality analysis. Thank you for hanging out, Dane, taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us, and to all the rest of you who are still here late in the game. We appreciate you. This is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun doing it. A large reason is that you all show up, contribute, make us laugh, give us crazy questions, give us really good questions that make us think and make Brett set off on weird rabbit hole research projects. So, Dane, deeply appreciate that. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for the super chat.
We don't even have the whiteboard turtles out yet either. So
not yet. We will.
Next week.
I think we should make the whiteboard turtles drink the Malort. That's just the Stephen Boston New York for another $10. Brett, idea for a video: hypothetical matchups, Legion of Boom versus Greatest Show on Turf. Ooh, I love it.
Ooh.
Steel Curtain versus Killer Bees, also really cool. And other historic teams, how their schemes match up and who they think would win. I will contribute to that series because I have some. I want to see the Smurfs. I want to see Warren Moon and the Smurfs, the run or shoot. Mouse Davis, no.
Your boy Bucky failed you.
Hey, he not. What did he fight?
We got a Bucs fumble.
Oh no. Oh, that's not Bucky failing. That's Jesse Bates being an All-Pro.
Forcing a second fumble tonight. He got Rashad and then he got Bucky.
If it was some random 7th round UDFA rookie who was a special teamer and he was just playing tonight because of injury, that's on Bucky. It's Jesse Bates. That's just Jesse Bates being a ball player. Atlanta picking up Bates and Judon, who has been ridiculously quiet tonight, by the way. Jesse Bates has not been ridiculously quiet this season. He has been tremendous. The idea that they added that much talent to their team in like August is silly. And yeah, Bucky's pissed, just like Darnell Mooney's pissed on the other sideline. Nobody likes making those mistakes, but like saying Jesse Bates hasn't got a bunch of dudes on that move throughout his career. Yeah, he has. That's what he does. That's why he's amazing.
I think Simmons was the one they added in August. I think Bates was the one they added last year. But the fact that they have
Bates
Simmons and Bates.
Yeah. No, they added Justin Simmons. You're correct. So Simmons and Judon late in your off-season team building program is a ton of talent to add to your team in general, but certainly to your defensive side of the ball. But no, Jesse Bates, the reason that Blank was fine writing the check for Jesse Bates, to get him, and unfortunately Cincinnati wasn't, which is crazy because they did pay Sam Hubbard.
It's Cincinnati, dude. They never pay anybody.
I understand that, but no, that's just Jesse Bates being Jesse Bates, which is awesome because Jesse Bates is a tremendous football player.
Well, Hall came through, got another sack.
Where's your? Oh, yeah, but they keep giving Tyler out your yards, which is good for you because you're squeaking and it's perfect.
But until I get my Levante tackles, we're still in trouble.
No.
Because I got Darnell and I got Rashad.
Sorry. You're boosted. You got one. Oh, yeah, Baker hasn't chipped in his. Okay, you're correct. You're still struggling. Anyways, Steven, great idea for series. Like, if I could just stop what I'm doing right now and just start doing that full time, I would have so much fun with that. I think it's a great idea. Unfortunately, I have a full-time plus job, and I can't do that, although my brain is going to be thinking about it full-time. So thanks for that. I appreciate that.
So the thing that I would need to make that work is, footage in all 22 of like the 70 Steelers, which I can get all the broadcast stuff. I can get all the NFL film stuff. What I don't have is all 22. However, when I was in Pittsburgh a month ago or so, there's a man on the NFL YouTube team. His name is Joe. He's great, and he lives in Pittsburgh. He lives over in the North Hills area. And he's Pittsburgh lifer, families from Pittsburgh. And
Yinzer.
His grandfather or great uncle was on the 70 Steelers teams. And he's like, oh, yeah, up in our attic, we have 70 Steelers practice film.
Oh.
And I was like, you have what? I was like, I don't think that exists anywhere else, dude. Like,
yeah,
you 70 Steelers practice film?
Like, let's make sure that doesn't get too warm up there in the attic. Oh! There it is!
Kirk!
Okay, do you get extra credit for that?
No.
It was Levante. Come on, they're not going to turn that into an assist? That's like the biggest assist there is. You just assisted the ball back to your offense. Oh, man, you know who loves Levante David more than anybody right now?
Luke Easterling?
Bucky Irving.
Oh, yeah. Kirk O'Chains and Kirk O'Payne. Man, he's just reading his eyes. Just reading his eyes. Just give me the ball.
Break. Yep. We said it at the top that they will throw you a couple and you got to catch them. And they both teams drop the opposing quarterback's attempt to throw them the football.
That was a weird tackle.
That was I'm really pissed off, and I'm going to see how far I can go till I get a flag tackle.
He like double tackled him.
Yeah, he just went to thump him. You know what it was? He watched the highlight of K-Walk breaking that tackle on the edge, and he was like, "That's not happening.
Never again."
I'm making sure that's not me. I'm not going to be on that highlight. Akalan for $10. I should throw you a few bucks for y'all helping me understand the nerdy details of football. As a software engineer, it's been a fun learning the nuances. Being a Falcons fan has been pain, however. Yeah, we cannot be responsible for your choice in fandom. Love the t-shirt, but yeah, it's been difficult for sure. However, thank you for saying thank you. We appreciate that. It is one of our goals to help bring more people into the game and help them have a better understanding and therefore enjoy it a little bit more. So the fact that we've done even a little bit of that for you is a plus for us. There's your Bucky Irving. He is not going to drop that thing again. He's going to fight you for it.
Hold, though.
Doesn't matter. He didn't drop it. He doesn't care. Bucky's like, whatever. Hold all you want. I am not dropping that football.
Well, despite how well we started off tonight, I don't think I'm getting what I need out of this entry, unfortunately.
You have the particular skill. Ooh, a little bit of a face mask there.
Oh, maybe that's what they called.
Yeah, they should. 55's been going through it tonight.
Or was it the hold they called?
Hold from Barton. And then face mask from Ellis.
So is it offsetting?
Oh, Ellis hasn't been going through it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was Ace.
Hold. Okay.
Yeah, it was Ellis with face mask. I was thinking that Ellis was Bertrand. Bertrand's been going through it a little bit. Caden's had a fine game. What?
Yeah, we got a screen?
No, but look at the... I'm sorry. This is one of those, hey, we're going to fake it to the left side, and then we're going to fall back a little bit, and then we're going to throw it to the left side where we tried to draw everybody into. And you're like, but what? They're looking for the over?
No.
Oh, he's wide open.
So the design of it was they were trying to get the defense to like recognize the play action shot to Mike, and then you hit him on the screen. And right, Mike's just the alert.
Shot broke open.
I know, but Mike's the alert, and never in a million years did he think that they were just going to let Mike go, so he didn't even look at it.
No, he didn't, and he was wide open. That was a walk-in.
They sold so hard on the run that they accidentally were in the right spot defensively. Like, he thought that they were going to, robot out of there and follow Mike and then give space for the screen. They're just like,
that's where having a really good football brain can work against you, because Baker, like, again, didn't even look, because he's like, that's never open, like, ever. I'm not even. And meanwhile, Mike's down there throwing up the mailbox like, dude, no, the one time, like, there's nobody here. Throw it to me. I'd walk it in from here. Oh, that would have been classic. Yes, we start our London games this weekend. So for all those who celebrate, football will be on starting at 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast and going all day until about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. It will be a full day of football. Always good. Take breaks. Make sure to get up, walk around.
Stay hydrated.
We don't want any health problems forming, but it will be a long day of football. So you've been preparing for this. We have faith in you. You can do it.
Dane Roberts for $10. A question that's been on my mind, actually. Does this year's highest paid quarterbacks' performances versus lower paid quarterbacks, but on better built teams and their performance, suggest a future change on the quarterback market? I don't think so, mainly because the quarterback middle class has evaporated, and all of the guys that are in the quote-unquote quarterback middle class right now are just going to get paid. And so, the lower paid quarterback is only going to be lower paid like a very short amount of time, because these guys are going to get extensions and pay increases and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because never in their right mind would you just let a top 10 quarterback walk out the door, right? It's just not going to happen. So it's kind of a weird anomaly where the convergence of the bounce backs of Baker and Darnold and Geno all happened at the same time, and they're all paid like middle class quarterbacks. But that is not a long-term thing. It's just, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was The Athletic. I think Robert Mays touched on it, where he was talking about how there's like a whole like lost generation of
Yeah.
QBs, right?
Yep,
And
it was Robert, and he talked about all these QBs that got drafted that should be those kind of like mid-30s, really good base of the league, and
they're
all
not
of them
there.
bombed out. So they're just gone. So you have young guys who've not yet got paid or excelled a little bit and gotten paid. They're just on the cusp there. And then you have the sort of older class, the Staffords who've been around for a very long time, gotten paid several times. But this wide middle class, this should be the sort of base of the quarterbacking foundation of the league. They were all bad for a long time, and so they're just all gone. It's like the middle layer of support of soil washed out. There's just a big gap.
And in this one specific year, I think that gap has been filled in by Baker, Darnold, Geno, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like Goff was just like that too, and then Goff just got paid a bunch of money this offseason. So all these guys are going to end up just like Goff. They're going to get a shitload of money because they're playing so well. Brock is about to get $60 million a year. So unless you think the NFL is continuously going to replenish that supply of quarterbacks that, you know, are for whatever reason, you know, getting signed to mid-tier deals and then blowing up, if you think the NFL is going to continuously replenish that supply chain, yeah, sure, but I don't think they will. I think for so many years, you either had the top guy or you had, or when I say a top guy, you either had like a bona fide star or you had nothing. And that was because we had so many quarterback prospects flame out that were drafted in the first round year after year after year. So you either hit big or you got wrecked. And I kind of feel like what we have this year is not sustainable. Like, I think these guys are all going to get paid. So to answer your question, if the whole goal of drafting J.J. McCarthy was to get a quarterback that's playing exactly like Sam Darnold is right now, do you really think the Vikings are going to let Sam Darnold walk out the door? I'm not convinced they are.
No, they probably shouldn't. It wouldn't be prudent. We'll say that. I want to get to Ninja Super Chat. I did see it. It got scrolled off. Main takeaways from the Bills-Ravens game. We talked about this a little bit in the wrap-up, but also in the preview pod coming out tomorrow. Like, the Ravens were primed is the basic takeaway. They were so close to winning all four of their first games, and they finally just basically got right against the Bills, and it was unfortunate for the Bills that they elevated to super weapon status with Lamar and Derrick Henry. I was just talking with somebody earlier about this, that you basically can make every opponent wrong. If you have Lamar and Derrick Henry, you can make it in the running game alone so that there is no right answer. Because if the quarterback, who is sort of the extra guy that, you know, doesn't count and doesn't figure into the run fit at the level that Lamar can, and if you choose that, he has the ability to basically kind of RPO to Derrick Henry, who is a Hall of Famer. You can make the defense wrong on almost any run concept. Forget pass concepts. So the Ravens have been, Monken's offense has been really good. And again, they were inches away from winning all of their games, basically. They just kind of got right against the Bills. Now, the Bills had some significant struggles in that game. I think they'll bounce back really quickly because of their balance on offense. We preview their game coming up this week. So we talk a lot about the Bills there, but I don't think the takeaways are super lasting for the Bills. For the Ravens, it's really good news. They've been knocking on the door a lot. Could have beat the Chiefs. Could have been 4-0. They just got kind of totally right and ran over the Bills at that time, and sort of reestablished, hey guys, by the way, everybody's been talking about other AFC powers. We're still here. We might not have the same record.
Gotta go.
Yep, running out of time. Got to get yourself a field goal attempt.
Wow, we might be going to OT. My pick'em might be alive.
I was gonna say bonus football.
1 second left. Wow, the execution on that. Holy shit. Yep.
That's what you pay Kirk for.
Look at Raheem in his face saying, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Man, I hope you be able to do something just like that. Now, young Waku has had a couple of misses tonight.
Well, technically, a couple misses and a block. Technically.
Does that make it better?
No, but
No, okay, just checking. I was leaving the block out, but no, has been up to this point one of the very consistent kickers in the league, one of the very best. And we're gonna see. Oh, flag
on
what are we
what?
doing here?
Oh, delay a game?
He's talking about spotting the ball. Raheem Morris is saying you didn't spot the ball. How can you give us delay a game when you haven't spotted the ball? He's stepping over the
What did
ball
we-
and the play
what-
clock goes
what?
down. You can't have both.
What do you? No.
Okay, they had to pick that up because I was like, he's like, you didn't step away from the ball. You were literally covering the ball, so
Yeah.
we can't snap it. It's a great. Now what are we doing?
Oh, timeout.
Somebody called timeout.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Oh,
Raheem
so
was right
he
to
was on the
lobby
ball.
for his guys. Yeah. He's like, you literally got a guy keeping us from spotting the ball, and then you call a penalty. That's a little funky. All right. Well, it's all on the shoulders of Younghoe Koo. Don't feel sad saying that. He is a very good kicker, and they are pretty darn close. Like the Falcons got him down.
Plus
Raheem is
76.9%.
incensed. All right. All the marbles. This is a huge game to come down to a last-second kick. Great job by the Falcons to put themselves in position.
Al Michaels does not want overtime. No, I think it's way past his bedtime at this point.
No, Al Michaels, yeah.
Oh, they didn't
Right.
pick it up, so they did give the penalty.
What in the world? You get it?
I think he got it. Drilled
He
it.
drilled it. Drilled it right down the middle.
All right, we're getting OT.
That is clutch. Clutch by a guy that's had 2 misses and a block to step up, get a penalty, take timeout, and just say, nah, ball game. I will send us in for the extra chance. Great job. That is some mental fortitude right there. To just, that's basically like cornerback mentality, right? Just got burned for a 52-yard TD bomb. I'm coming back, getting a PBU on the next play. Great job by Younghoe Koo.
God, I wish every TNF game was just NFC South. It'd make our job so much easier.
It would make Thursdays a lot easier, but
But no, we got to watch
Okay.
the fucking Giants.
so he spikes it. Like, why does the play clock keep going when he spikes it? I
I
don't
don't
get
know.
that. That's okay. Somebody's gonna have to explain that penalty to me like I'm 5, because I don't get that at all.
16
What did that
points
guy
for
have
Koo
to-
tonight.
Did that guy have to run in and tell him which side of the coin to pick? Like,
Yeah.
what was so urgent?
I think he wanted to make sure he had the pick. It was Grady, and he's like, Grady, just so you know.
Yeah, tails, man, tails. Boy, think about. We talk about this all the time, but think about execution for this. Like for this entire game, like the Darnell Mooney drops, Younghoe Koo misses, the missed tackles on runs early in the game that gave free yardage or easy touchdowns. Like it all comes down and it all like evens out. The equilibrium is what's killing me. Is that we've gone through all that football, all those good and amazing and bad plays on both sides, and we are dead even. We get some extra football out of this.
I'm going to go give Fatty his food really quickly because I thought this game
All
was
right.
going to be over right now. So I was going to feed
I was
him
going to
after.
say, nobody's bringing me tacos.
So I'm going to give... Oh, Little just heard the can. Little's like, more extra? No, bud.
Yeah. Oh, Little is like, hey, whatever he doesn't want, Dad, I will totally take it.
It's for your brother.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's not. You think it is, Dad.
All right, I'm going to lock
But it's
Little in here, and I'm going to go give this to Fatty, and I'll be right back.
All right, fair enough. Emily Sargent says, damn it, I want to go to bed. Emily, go to bed. Guess what? You can figure out how it worked out tomorrow. If you're locked into the drama, you will have to pay the price with sleep. That is the way we do this. Sleep is for the weak. Jack, no kidding, says the guy that got up at crack of dawn in England to see this one. We appreciate you all being here, Emily, Jack, and everybody else. Big thanks to our patrons. Big thanks to our sponsors. We couldn't do any of this without Homage, without Underdog. Whether or not Brett hits his slip, luckily it's not dependent on whether or not we are supported by Underdog. Good thing for us. They are incredibly generous and basically, like you, just want to see more football content. Indeed, our conversation with them was, so what do you want us to do? And they said, more of what you're already doing. We're like, that's it? They're like, yep, we love what you're doing. We just want you to do more. So if you are so inclined, feel free to support Underdog. Feel free to support Homage. That helps us make better content and hang out when it's overtime without remorse. We are not gonna run out of stream here. Our sponsors make sure of that. So do you, all the patrons who contribute, and everybody that likes, subscribes, shares the videos. We've had a lot of growth on the channel. We couldn't do it all without you. Yes, I know people come back and say, oh, well, you make quality content. Yeah, but if you didn't consume it, comment on it, share it with your friends, think it was worthwhile, tell people about it, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. So we really appreciate everybody's support. Falcons get the ball first. Kirk, still drilling it.
We have another little appearance for those of you who only care about him.
Little. Well, it's okay. If people just hang out for the cats, it's more clicks. Oh,
he's leaving me because I'm not giving him food.
He's like, you're not paying me for this, Dad. We had an agreement, 1 appearance per stream. I didn't get extra.
Oh, there goes Drake again.
Yeah.
Still not getting tackled by Levante.
Man. He has been.
Is he all right?
He has put some wear and tear on the tires tonight. Gets by the first one, but boy, that second one. Ooh, is he in?
Ribs. Got him right in the ribs.
Zion McCollum.
Yeah.
Who is a heck of an athlete. Not only really well built as an athlete, but very fast. And that was a hammer shot right to the sternum. That is rough.
Might have knocked the wind out of him.
I bet it did.
I mean, I would just evaporate. So
yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not one to judge.
The ribs would fold completely inward and stay there.
Right in the baby backs.
Right in the baby backs.
That's
indeed. Good. That he's gonna have to collect himself after that one. That was a rough shot.
Come here, little. Let me scan you.
Let me scan you. They scanned me. London really looks excellent tonight. Hope he's all right. Nintendo console gamer. Indeed, Nintendo console gamer. He has looked very good and all the part of a number 1 wide receiver. Hope he's all right as well because he is a fun player to watch, and this Atlanta offense is quite different when he's out there on the field. A little orbit motion from Mooney. Rips it inside. Daryl Hodge.
Oh, and he's gone.
That's it.
He's gone.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Daryl Hodge.
How did the Falcons win this game?
And
are you kidding me?
That is I'm going to say the Falcons won the game. I'm also going to say Tampa Bay helped themselves lose it with some piss poor tackling. But again, to be at 60 minutes, to be completely even, to have them on the ropes, the Bucs are not going to like the fact that they had it. This one's going to sting, like without a doubt. This one is going to leave a mark. And they're going to know that it wasn't the refs. It wasn't like bad calls necessarily. They didn't execute. There were several plays where they did not tackle, and Atlanta ball carriers got in the end zone more easily than they should have. That is a backbreaker. That feels really tough. It is great for the Falcons. This is a huge boost for them in their own building. Again, on an evening when, yes, they're wearing throwbacks, and yes, they're putting Matt Ryan in the Ring of Honor. Like, Matt's a happy guy right now. Certainly better to show up and have them win. That is a big deal. Yeah. Oh, so you probably didn't see the piece beforehand where Taylor Rooks taught Kirk Cousins to swag surf. So that's what he's doing. Yeah. Just like it sounds.
Okay.
Just like it sounds.
I'll say this. So the Bucs picked off Kirk with 1:52 left in the game.
And couldn't close it out.
And I'm pretty sure how many timeouts do they have at that time? I think they only had I don't even think they had any timeouts left, did they? Hold on. Timeout. Oh no, they had 3 timeouts left. So 1:52.
Look at this route, man.
And they couldn't close it out.
Okay, you're at the 45. You make a desperate play for the ball, and then the 2 interior defenders are going to hate that film. The 2 interior safety defenders, 26 28. Watch this. They both get worked inside, and there's just no recovering. Darrell Hodge, real fast and straight line, not super agile player, but big and real fast when he gets rolling. And, boy, that is just a dagger for a division game.
A game where the Baker played extremely well. They got some breaks.
Where you had him. Yeah, you definitely had him.
And I get it. Like, Bucs fans are going to be mad that they missed the face mask call.
Yep.
That would have canceled out the hold. But there were still so many other plays the Bucs could have made to ice that game. Again, you're under 2 minutes with a pick.
And
God,
again,
that is
like,
rough.
There was plays on both sides that could have been made. We talked about the Mooney drops. We talked about the Bucky Irving fumble that Jesse Bates forced. To have all of those sort of grains of sand completely level the scales at the end and then just break on a 45-yarder to Darrell Hodge. Got to talk about Drake London. Played an incredibly tough game tonight. Got knocked out at one point. Looked like he might have a concussion. Got checked out. Came back in this game. Got knocked down later. Had to be picked up by the trainers. Very gritty performance by players on both sides. This is a hard-fought game. It reminds me of an AFC North game, right? It's an NFC South game, but these 2 teams were beating the hell out of each other. At first half, we thought it was one thing. We thought it was just a wild Big 12 scoring showdown. Was going to end up 55-50. Halftime adjustments get made. Both teams come back. They grind it out to basically a draw, and then Atlanta pulls one out at home in overtime. Impressive stuff.
I think 3 out of the first 5 weeks we've had a Falcons primetime game, and they've all been good, which is crazy. Kirk Cousins, primetime gold.
Arthur Blank is worth every dollar. I will take the tampering charge next year. I don't care. This is what I paid for. 100%.
Oh, man. Unbelievable. Hell of a game. I hope every TNF game is at least 70% as good as that, and we'll be sitting pretty. Again,
agree.
Next week is Seahawks Niners, so it should be on paper pretty darn good. We did not hit on our pick'ems tonight, but
I love how it's when we don't hit.
I did not hit on our pick'ems tonight, but we're coming back for a vengeance this Sunday. Give you a little preview for the few of you that watch these streams compared to the main episodes. This is what we got cooking up for our main episode entry slip this week, and you'll have to watch the episode to get all of our explanations. So we got Garrett Wilson higher than 54.5, whether Devontae is there or not. Brock higher than 252.5. Dak lower than 255.5, which, remember, if you're not super fond of that and you want to swap that out for a Dak half yard, new customers do get a Dak half yard pick'em for this Sunday. So you can check that out at the link in the description below. Again, promo code bootleg. You get that free pick for Dak if you don't feel super confident in that one or confident in any of these. Derek Carr higher than 214.5 passing, and then Kyron lower than 88.5 rushing. That is what we got cooking up for this Sunday. So, should be a fun week. 14 hours of straight football on Sunday. We got the England games this week. Make sure you wake up early, especially if you're in the West Coast. I'm going to be up at like 5 a.m., which normally I'd complain about on a Sunday, but it's worth it. It's worth it this week. Again, preview episode coming out tomorrow, recap episode coming out Monday, and then we roll straight into next TNF stream, Hawks Niners. EJ, any final words?
It's been a good week. Started off this week at the Chiefs Chargers game at SoFi, hanging out at your house, did the recap episode from there, jumped in my car, drove back here, did a bunch of work, recorded the recap pod yesterday, TNF tonight. We've been working, putting in hours, making all this content, and it's been a great week. Couldn't ask for anything more. This was a fantastic TNF game. If you were here for the whole thing, we appreciate you. Thank you for the clicks, the likes, the comments. They all help the algorithm. Tell your friends, support our sponsors, and we will see you back here tomorrow if you're back on the channel to check out the preview pod. But then Monday with a recap, and next Thursday for a gritty division rivalry. Tell you what, Seahawks fans do not love Niners fans. Mm-mm.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right. Thank you all for watching. We will see you back on the channel tomorrow.